get the stream going and make sure I've got an actual link in the thing for people that wanted to watch, because I said I would do that. Hey YouTube, you want to let me know that there's a stream I can share? Eyes? There we go. YouTube, you want to let me know that there's a stream I can... And here we go. Welcome to the 5th, 6th? Something Aseira one-shot. I think it's 5th.
Yeah, you keep being one-shot 5.
Well, there was...
Or wait, no, there was 3 in the first one.
So there was 1, 2, 3, 4... this will be 6. 6 because one of them was split into 2. Yeah.
Yes.
6th Aseira one-shot, right? I think. Either way, whatever. We're here.
Nice. Wait.
Nice. Unless we count one of them as A and B, but either way.
It's the fifth scenario.
We can start calling them 69 now, right?
Yes, this is the
No,
69th
we have to get to 2 digits
Aseira one-shot. Correct. Correct you are. Either way, whatever number it is, it has been named Calamity Approaching. I am here tonight with Marcelo, Joanna, Kieran, Eric, and Nick as my players, and I am Jordan, the game master.
Your players.
Indeed, yes, my players. We are playing a slightly hacked together system from the bones of Blades in the Dark and Bands of Blades, and let's get this going. The Howling Isles, a tropical archipelago in the far northeastern corner of Elion, are home to a fractured, turbulent people. Leaders and their clans rise and fall on the tides of fate as their territories ebb and flow as they clash in politics, principle, and power. It is home to as many cultures as there are isles, as many beliefs as there are waves, and as many wars as there are storms. Many can find a new life there, if they can handle the locals' tempestuous nature and love for the sea. Children barely walk before they can swim, and learn to shoot before they can read or write. Clans gather funds to feed their people through trading, fishing, or even pirating. It is not an easy life, but it is a life that many love. The only successful attempt at common ground is the city of Belwick. It relies on an ancient code that must be sworn upon in order to gain entry. It is a massive hub, a city of trade, a city of engineering, but most importantly, a sanctuary, where no violence is permitted except in matters of law. You've all been to Belwick many times, whether to study, trade, or perhaps you live there. The year is 417 after emergence. The normally tropical Howling Isles are frozen by the coldest winter on record. Only the oldest and saltiest sailors remember the last time this region saw snow. Ships sit in docks, with very few daring to face the storms. Crews crowd around fires and curse the cold. Spirits are running low, both in bottles and the sailors themselves. A single ship, battered and barely afloat, returns to Belwick. They are the sole remaining crew of the Red Raven, flagship of a clan of the same name who are known for their recklessness and viciousness. The Red Raven and its fleet boldly sailed into the cold, believing their bravery would be seen and rewarded by Zoyar. Instead, they found an incredible danger, the likes of which the world had not seen since humanity emerged from the dark below. A great and terrible sea snake. Large enough to swallow any ship in Belwick with a single bite, its blood so cold it froze the waters around it, and as it thrashed about, the ocean's spray became storm clouds. Cannon fire merely glanced off its scales, leaving only scratches. But thankfully, the Red Raven was able to outrun the beast and escape, but not before the storms claimed the rest of its fleet. It was far from the worst news brought back by the Red Raven, unfortunately. The beast was headed this way. Though it was slow and would take months, if it reached the Isles, everyone would lose their homes. The Calamity could be outrun, but who could tell how far it would go? How long would everyone be on the run? What could they return to? Did the Calamity even reach the mainland? Cedric Hayes, captain of the Red Raven, proposed another plan. The people of the Isles would unite for one great task: kill the colossal beast, save their homes, get vengeance. All resources in Belwick were dedicated for this task. All hands assisted with the creation of weapons and ships capable of piercing the scales of this monster. For the first time since the creation of the Code of Belwick, the clans of the Howling Isles worked together. The last great fleet, led by Cedric Hayes, would slay the Titan or die trying. Now, I would like to go through each of our players and have them introduce their characters a little bit. Let's start with Ken, since you're on the top left here.
Me name be Cannonball, and I was handpicked by the High Lords of Belwick, or whatever governing body it is here, to command the greatest ship that's been ever seen against this here sea snake. And I don't know if I'm shown atop my ship.
Oh, right.
But my ship is a tremendous iron and steel dreadnought, plated in beautiful U.S. military history, with lots of steel plating, and with two large and as yet unexplained sort of seams going about halfway back. Instead of quite as many cannons as that, there are a number of armored turrets throughout the ship onto which various mages or gunners can climb and take shots. And the sails are emblazoned with the emblem or flag of Belwick. This is a ship of leadership and of combat.
All right, thank you. Next up is Koakai.
All right, Kolkai is a very tall turtle man who leads his ship, or his crew, called the Guardians of the Dawn. They basically make their living typically on trying to scout out and explore uncharted islands, and along the way make their money hunting down dangerous pirates and escorting ships through dangerous waters. Their ship, the Storm's Honor, is a large brigantine vessel. It's a classic sailing ship, so there's no V engines or anything, but it's plated in a mithril alloy with lots of spikes covering the bow of the ship. And extending out from the bow is a large, long, like rifle barrel or cannon barrel with a turtle's head at the end.
All right, thank you. And since you brought it up, I probably should mention as well, since I don't know how many other places in the one-shots it's been mentioned in this use, but V is a pale blue opaque substance that works similarly to oil in this world, but it has some other more magical properties as well. So many of these ships rely on it either to power their ammunition, their motors, or other mechanical elements, but not Koakai's.
I did forget to mention that the sails of my ship do seem to move differently to how the ship is actually moving.
Very cool. Thank you.
Sorry.
Oh, all good. We'll move on to Landgrave Mircha. Or did I pronounce that even close to correctly?
Yeah.
Go ahead and describe your character, your crew.
Well, for starters, the first thing you notice is that the captain is just standing there awkwardly. They're wearing nice clothes and they're well put together. They just don't seem to know their way around groups. And you see their mouth moving, but you don't hear any sound yet. And then the woman next to her with the crazy wild hair steps forward and hollers, "All right, you guys, this here's Captain Landgrave, and I'm Mersha. I'm the first mate, but if you need to talk to anybody, you'll be dealing with me. We're here to make sure that you guys don't fall apart as you get there." As you look, you notice that the ship is, while it just originally looked like a geometric design, it's literally patched together with all sorts of materials. But somehow it seems to be moving smoothly and functioning perfectly well. You suspect there's probably some kind of, is it this? V?
V, yes.
V influence that kind of, that helps smooth things out and keep the ship going in a way contrary to how it's physically put together.
All right, thank you. Very cool. Next up, we've got Hector. Please describe what you've got going on.
All right, Hector Strumsguard was a merchant, explorer, and adventurer who one day witnessed gulls jumping from the cliffs and diving into the ocean for food. This gave him inspiration to create the, excuse me while I forget my own name, the Shrike class airship. A small 2 to 3 man, delicate kind of airship of wooden construction with sails that seems to ride along with the wind rather than pushing against it or overpowering it. This was followed by the Goliath class airship, which is what he is riding into battle today, which is a first of its kind Zeppelin style that's carrying many smaller Shrike class airships.
Cool emblem you got on there.
So Hector will be providing aerial support. Thank you, Hector. Riker, what you got going on?
Riker is a merchant and scientist who doesn't tend to go out on the water much. He likes to stick to his laboratory and experiment and sell his wares to the highest bidder. But he can't have his livelihood threatened, so he took some of his largest weapons in his arsenal, including a V-powered cannon that, kind of looks like a railgun, and built a ship around it, and decided that he would help take out this serpent with the biggest gun imaginable.
All right.
His ship is powered from basically one command console with 2 or 3 people in it, and he commands most of it with a staff that, again, V-powered, has the glowing green to direct it.
Excellent, thank you. So that is our cast of characters here. There are other ships in the fleet as well, though many of those are smaller vessels and more numerous, under the command of Cedric Hayes himself, the admiral of this last great fleet. And we will not be having player characters take care of them, but they are out there and about, and you 5 are the top ships, the biggest, baddest, most heavily equipped ships, and some of the most famous captains in this fleet. as a note as well, Hector has a lot of mages aboard his ship, helping out with various elements, and he has sent a small crew to each of your ships of psionic mages that will help with communication during this event. They will relay messages around and perform other such magics to make sure that no one's out of the loop at any time. You all set sail together, the last great fleet, emphasized because hopefully something terrible like this will never happen again, and there will never be another need for a great fleet of this size. Led by Cedric Hayes, you head out into the storm. We are now going to do what is called the engagement roll of this system, which is the only time, well, not the only time, but the main time that I, as a GM, get to roll anything in this system. What this does, basically, is it's sets up a bunch of the things that you guys have done to set up for this mission, and we figure out sort of how your luck goes and how things start out. See what kind of position you're in when we jump to the action here. So, got some questions for you. Would everyone here consider themselves loyal to Cedric Hayes?
Mm-hmm.
Or is there anyone here not loyal, but just here out of opportunity or out of...
I be loyal to Cedric Hayes.
Well,
You
I'll
guys.
say we have a common kinship.
Okay. Riker? Mersha?
I think I'm mostly here for keeping my livelihood in afloat, so to speak.
Okay.
Would captain's here because their heart is good. I'm here because I like fixing things that break.
Okay.
Not good enough?
So, sounds like we got two people here that aren't necessarily loyal, but have good reasons to be here. I'm going to count that,
Yeah.
at least. You're not...
Mersha is loyal. She just doesn't have a lot of personal connections.
At the very least, it doesn't sound like anyone has been pressed to be here. They're all here because they want to fight in this war. Is that correct? The correct assumption?
Yes, for my crew.
This is the biggest target he's ever had.
All right. Didn't hear any
People
dissents, so
want him to do it.
you guys get +1 die for that. Commander did give you guys intel because he saw the threat ahead of time. It's another die. Everyone on the mission is not a specialist or soldier. You guys have a lot of NPC allies, so you do not get the bonus die there. Doesn't sound like anyone has any distrust of leadership from the previous conversation. Cool. So you don't get a negative die for that. Okay, you guys have the specialist you need. Now, this is, I would consider, an assault mission. So, you get a bonus die if any of you have equipped Black Shot, which in this case would be Calamity rounds, I believe we have renamed.
I do not have Black Shot, but I have previously known as Black Arrows.
Yes, that would be fine. As long as at least one person in the entire crew has it, you get this bonus. So.
I have Black Shot as well.
Okay,
Right.
so
So, you guys are going to start with 3 dice then on this roll. And how this is going to work is if you get a 1, 2, a 3, you're in a desperate position to start. Things are going to go bad right from the start. You guys are going to be on your back foot already, and you're going to have to try and work your way out of it. You get a 4 to a 5, you're in a risky position, which means it's kind of up in the air how things are going at the moment. It's not the best situation you've ever been in at the start of a mission like this before, but it's not the worst either. It's kind of standard. If you get a 6 on this roll, you are in a controlled position, which means things are going great. They're in your favor. Everything's lining up perfectly, and the first rolls you're all going to be taking are going to be, extra effective. Let's see how this goes. Mixed effects. You got a limited effect. You got a 4 on the roll. So you guys are going to start in a risky position, which changes how I'll narrate the start of this. So you leave the port and head out far more north and east of the Howling Isles. away from the main continent, away from the archipelago, and into the storm. It gets colder and colder as the winds grow sharper and sharper and more rain falls upon your boats. It's already getting rough and you haven't begun to fight anything. Not so rough that any of you are taking harm, but it hurts your morale a little bit. You knew this would be tough. You hoped it wouldn't be this tough. All of your psionic mages on the ships that were set up by Hector previously get a transmission from Cedric Hayes as he gives you all a speech to kick off this mission, a pep talk to get everybody ready. The magic involved in this process lets you all hear his own voice directly instead of the voices of the mages involved, and you hear all of this in your heads, so none of it is blotted out by the winds or the waves. Brothers, sisters, warriors one and all, I did not come to lead this great fleet out of my own ambitions. I did not come to lead because I wanted to. My whole fleet, my whole clan, my whole family are dead. Murdered by that terrible, monstrous snake. No, I would never wish for that. Yet here I am, Admiral Cedric Hayes. Here we are, the last great fleet of the Howling Isles. We are here for vengeance. This is personal. We are here to protect our homes. We are here to slay the mightiest beast the world has yet seen, and we are here for glory. Hold nothing back, for the Titan of the waters will show us no mercy. Fight! Fight with me at your side. Fight with your fellow warriors. Fight in the name of your gods. Fight to protect our families, our homes. Fight with nature at your backs. Fight, for the old ways demand it. Fight. And the transmission fades out. As you are getting closer.
More than 25 words.
Fortunately, no such limitations exist in this universe. The transmission fades out. You can see the beast on the horizon. You're getting closer, and it is terrifying in its size. The waves are getting rockier as the beast thrashing about is creating large, expansive waves that are creating massive clouds of storms as though mist freezes in the air. And so, I will ask you all, in this situation as you're approaching the beast, what are you doing?
Well, first things first, as we're approaching the beast, I'd probably be focusing on communicating positioning.
I'll be right at the front of the pack.
Alright. Communicating positioning. Would you consider that a setup action you were taking? Are you trying to accomplish something that you want to get up over the field and kind of try and make whoever takes the next action get a little bit of a bonus from your communication?
Absolutely.
Alright. Pick a skill for that.
Ooh, scouting.
Go for it. So I will say this, since you're starting off in a risky position, and I'll say this is standard effects, unless you want to argue otherwise. You could try and push that down to a desperate and great effect if you want. You can push yourself, take some stress, get extra die. I think there's a bunch of things listed on the actual rolling interface if you want to pick that over as well.
Good look. Alright, so I hit this. Roll options. Let's try take 2 stress. My god, the volume keeps changing. I'll just do a standard, risky standard roll.
Alright, not gonna push yourself?
Nah, we'll start out gentle.
Okay, go ahead and hit that roll then. See what you get. How many dice you got on this? I guess we'll see once you hit it.
I got 2 dice.
Alright, full success since you rolled a 6. There are no issues. You managed to completely get a view of your surroundings. Fortunately, your elevated position makes it easy for you to oversee the battlefield from up high. There are clouds here and there, but you have a fairly nimble airship. You're able to move about and see different angles, and you communicate down the location of several things in the area. There are different small icebergs that are frozen around the beast that might be good cover. There are patterns in the waves you've noticed, spots that might be good to shoot from here and there. You relay all this information to the others, so whoever takes the next action will be getting plus to their effect, I believe. This is a setup action. Who's doing what
Are
next?
you like within firing range of this thing?
You can be if you want to be. It is much slower than you all. It is a pretty giant beast and it moves pretty slowly.
I'm going to stay. Does anybody else have like an attack action if they wanted to?
It's up to you guys.
I was just gonna try and get closer, but do your thing.
Yeah, I'm trying to just be at, like, I want to be the closest one to the snake so that I can hit it when it comes up.
Yeah. I'm going to stay in the middle of the fleet, close to the front, so I can be there to patch up the other ships and captains as need be. And I am going to use research to try and find a weak spot and then communicate that to their fleet.
Sounds great. Go ahead and roll that. So I'll say if you're getting a little closer to research, I'd say that's risky. However, you were just set up by Hector, so I'll say this is controlled. Hector probably found a spot for you to get your research done from. So this is a controlled roll for standard effect.
All right.
All right, a 1, a 2, and a 6. Full success. You do it. There are no consequences. As you get up close to this terrifying titan, you hide behind a little bit of an iceberg and look up at it and try to figure out what could be a weak spot on this thing. You've heard Cedric Hayes talk about how its scales would just deflect cannon fire completely, and you needed to build special weapons to even pierce that, but now that you see it up close, I mean, it looks like a snake. You figure, go for the places that aren't scaled. It's got eyes and a mouth.
All right. I communicate that.
All right.
Through the psionic navigation.
Woo!
Psionic navigation.
Who's doing what next? Somebody jump in.
Kolkai will command his fleet, which is made up of the flagship, the Storm's Honor, and then 2 smaller ships, the Crashing Wave and the Wind's Fury. The smaller one also has like the same alloy plating, and is a little bit slower than the Wind's Fury, but the Wind's Fury seems to have like a little strange arcane cannon attached to it, and the Crashing Wave has like a large harpoon device. And Kokai will command the 2 ships to move in closer, and the spellcasters on the ships will control the wind and the water to move the ships closer quickly.
Okay, so what action are you taking here?
I would say maneuver, just to try and get into a good position for them to attack.
Okay, that makes sense to me. I will say this is risky and standard. I mean, if you move there, you're going to move there. So that's a standard effect for sure, and it's absolutely risky getting close to this thing. I wouldn't say it's quite desperate yet, because you're not quite in range of it yet, but...
Is it possible for me to discipline or sway to help command all of those ships?
You can...
I don't know if that's how this works.
You can assist. It doesn't require you to roll a skill check, but if you give assistance to Koakai, you will take 1 stress, and Koakai will get an additional die on the roll.
Okay.
That is possible. And normally you would describe how you assist, which sounds like you're offering your assistance by means of orders.
Yeah, just share my command skill.
Sounds
So
great.
yes, I will do that and take some stress.
No. Thank you.
All
Alright, so I add like a +1 die modifier.
That's right. Damn, every roll is 6. All right.
What's up?
And hey, that was the third die as well, so might have had some consequences without Can's help.
Yeah, that was some good shit.
So far, things are going well for you guys. Almost too well. You get in close to this giant snake. You're able to maneuver into a position with all the information that's been gathered by your companions so far. You find a spot that puts you in range to attack it just as its head swoops by out of the way, and it'll have to do a whole nother loop through the water before it can spin down and attack you again. So you're in a great position here. Who's doing what? If nobody jumps in, I get to do something.
Well, Riker will growl out through the scions.
Not anymore.
Keep it still so I can take a shot.
All right.
With that in mind, Kolkai will send the crashing wave to try and propel itself right into the creature and harpoon it, and like attach itself to the creature and try and anchor it into one spot.
Okay.
Can I use a skirmish for that?
Skirmish sounds good. And I will say, based on what's going on here, we're gonna have a little bit of conversation. So I'd say this is desperate for a limited effect. With one ship trying to lock it down, you're gonna need some way to boost that. It's a few different ways. You can push yourself to boost the effect up to standard, which will take stress. It will be desperate though. That ship could take some serious damage if this goes wrong. Anything else you'd like to throw in there though? You might have equipment or abilities or other options. At the moment, standard or desperate and limited, unless you can argue for higher than that.
I'll push myself to
Interrupt.
Oh, go ahead.
How good are you at wrecking things?
Fairly decent. I'm pretty good.
What if we did a combined or a group action? Because I'm also pretty good at wrecking things.
All right, I'm down with that. We can do a wreck instead.
All right.
I'm not so good at wrecking things, but I'm good at patching up things that get wrecked.
All right. Well,
I have a pretty high wreck. I could get in on some wrecking.
All right.
all right.
I will say with the three of you doing wreck, that will improve your scale by quite a bit, which will bump this up from a limited to a standard effect.
Yeah, it scales. Get it.
And also, my lead from the front thing improves the scale whenever I lead a group action.
All right, so this goes from a standard to a great effect.
Awesome.
Oh, hell yeah. So it's desperate great.
Desperate great on a wreck, but I think so for a group roll, everybody rolls wreck.
Yeah.
And you take the highest result out of the three.
And we can count multiple sixes from whatever we roll as criticals.
Oh, is that one of your abilities?
Yeah.
Sick.
Oh shit.
Yeah, also I'm only going to take one stress from this.
Okay, that's sick. I like that.
Yep. Alright. So we
Do
all
the rest
go
of
in.
us take stress or no?
Only the leader of the group action.
Mm-hmm.
So anyone
Alright.
anyone who is participating can roll wreck.
Alright, so for this wreck maneuver, I'm going to have one or two of my little Shrike-class vessels swoop in towards its head and attempt to drop drill bombs into its eyes, face, mouth.
Sweet.
Is there any way I can use rig to help boost the wreck maneuver? Like help one of them have like an extra propulsion
I would
ahead of
consider
time?
that a setup action. And that would it's tricky for a group thing. I'll say that's a setup action with a limited effect, because you're gonna have to for this to work and actually give a bonus to the roll, you're gonna have to affect everybody, which is gonna take some work on your part. So you might have to use some bonuses to bump that up from a limited effect. But I'd say risky limited as a setup effect, which would give them a bonus on the roll if it succeeds. But it does open you up to consequences while you make it.
Could this be a flashback thing where she set it up in advance?
That's a possibility, yeah.
Yeah, so
So,
flashback, while we were at the dock, I took some time to tinker with their weapons and their things and reinforce the ramming parts of their ships, and also add a little bit of spring to whatever they were planning on using to wreck it.
Oh, hell yeah.
okay. I'll say this doesn't require a roll, but it does cost you 2 stress to do the flashback, if you want to take that.
Yeah.
Okay, so you take 2 stress. You do the flashback. We flash back to Landgrave Mercia and her whole crew, improving all of your weapons for this specific maneuver, because you knew that Riker had this exact weaponry, and he needed the beast to be locked down a little bit for it to work. So you made everyone's weapons just that little bit better. This bumps the roll from a desperate great roll to a standard, or a risky great roll, for all 3 of you.
Awesome.
Nick, were you going to describe more about your bombs?
Oh, my bombs?
Yeah, I think I cut you off.
The Shrike class vessels have a single attachment point underneath where you can strap on a
Strap on.
drill bomb, lol, which is a tube with a drill point and fins on it that cause it to spin through the air. So when it hits a target after being dropped, it sticks.
Sweet.
Pretty cool.
Oh, and there's explosives inside it.
Of course.
You can aim for the eyes or the mouth, since that's bigger for that.
Pretty much mouth, yeah. I'm gonna be going for mouth.
So
those bombs. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
well, I just will say it might be best to make the roll, and then we can narrate how the wreck goes based on the what happens with the roll. If that makes sense. Because you guys could go in for the approach and just get swatted down if the roll goes poorly enough. So.
Enough. All right. So this is a risky great.
This is a risky great for all 3 of you need to roll.
All right.
The hilarious part about that is I get +1 on desperate rolls. So the fact that we got helped and moved it up means I lose the +1, but I gain a +1 because we got helped.
There you go.
Oh, wait.
Oh no, you don't get a +1 from being helped.
Oh no, okay, then that I
The
just
plus
lose my.
the help
I
was
lose
bumping
it.
up to risky
Oh.
from desperate. Yeah.
Let's see. Yeah, I'll just take the roll. Hey,
Okay,
yeah, do
1 6, so it will be 2 6s. You
2
get a
sixes.
critical.
Let's
Okay.
go.
Holy
So
shit.
you're gonna have to take that
Ooh.
1 stress,
Mm-hmm.
Ken, but you guys do manage to lock it down for a moment. All of you with your various different wrecking methods. I'll let you describe that in a second. No, go ahead and describe it now. Hector already kind of described his, but how are the other 2 of you wrecking it? It should involve explosives in some way. It's a wreck roll.
Oh, really?
I mean, I'd probably say so. I mean, if you have
I was
an
going
idea.
to try to use my giant mandible thing.
I'll allow that, sure. That's fine.
So Ken shouts, ramming speed, and the ship leaps forward as these 2 huge plates shoot out of the sides, revealing the purpose of those seams, and just rocket forward and sink into the snake, and attach the ship to it momentarily, at least.
Excellent. Koakai, what are you doing?
Yeah, Kolkai's crew will do something similar. They'll send the Bladesinger air ganassi on the crashing wave. Will use control wind to propel the ship itself into the creature with its harpoon-like device right at the front, and just crash the entire ship right into it.
All right, excellent. So, the explosives distract the beast while 2 of you lock it down, and it can't figure out where to focus. And as it just kind of sits there and roars and tries to flex against all of you, there's a brief moment of pause for Riker to make his shot. I will, however, note as well, since you got a critical and not just a full success, you get an additional effect on top of what you're doing. So, what I'm going to say here is all of your work on the scales is going to bring you a little closer to piercing the armor. I'm going to mark 2 segments on piercing the armor. I'll move this up here. Once that clock fills up, you guys will have opened up a massive tear in the scales, another weak spot that'll be easier to target. Riker,
Nice.
you've got an opening.
All right.
The brief moment of calm, you know the exact moment.
So yeah, I'll as everyone crashes in, his massive railgun starts to charge as he takes aim, and fires his crimson shot.
Okay.
I'm just gonna start with that.
I will
shit.
say, this is going to be the Crimson Shot is quite a powerful armament, and several of your companions are up in close range of this thing. That is fine. You can still take the shot. However, I was going to put this at a great effect for like some sort of smaller snipe. I'll bump this down to a risky effect with the risk of potentially harming some of the people around the beast, but it will be a great effect. So risky, great effect to start. Or, yeah, great effect because you have potency from the Crimson Shot. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, it counts as a threat 4 attack.
Yeah, which is why it's a great effect.
Okay, and then when I aim, it increases the effect, I think? Hold on. I forget how aim works. Shit.
That's all right. Just take a moment to look at it.
I'm pretty sure it just increases the effect, but
You have aim, which yes, each use of it improves the effect level of your shot. You're already at great for this shot, so it wouldn't necessarily do too much here.
oh, great is as high as it goes. Okay.
There is extreme effect. I would require you use multiple uses of it to go from great to extreme, though. Extreme is much higher on the scale.
One shot it, bro.
How many?
How many uses of aim would I have to use?
If you're right now at great effects, oh boy, I'm gonna say if you want with no other alterations to just go straight up to extreme, I'm gonna require 3 uses of aim. You can alternatively take 1 stress and push yourself for 1 use of it instead, so like 2 uses and pushing yourself to take stress. Which would be risky to extreme effects.
You know what? I think I'll do that.
Okay.
I'll take 2 uses of aim and a stress.
Okay, so 2 uses of aim and a stress for an extreme effect. Risky roll.
On a shoot.
Do you want to improve the success chances of this at all? You can push yourself for an extra die, which is 2 stress, I believe, actually. I think I asked for 1 stress earlier from somebody. It is 2 stress. That's my mistake on that one. 2 stress to push yourself and get an extra die. I can offer you a devil's bargain if you want. In replacement for the stress, you can get an extra die, but I get something in return. Some sort of consequence will happen no matter what, even if you crit.
Literally just call himself.
How many dice do you have right now?
So I have base 4 for shoot.
When I went to college.
And then do I get a die from everyone doing the wreck shit?
That is
No?
what gave
Okay.
you the effect level to start.
Oh, okay. Right. So I'm using 1 stress for aim. Then I can take 2 more to push myself.
Yes.
Fuck it. Yeah, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna get 5 dice.
All right. Now, would you like a devil's bargain? Go up to 6 dice. It's up to you.
No, because
I
this
can
can go
tell you
really
the devil's
bad.
bargain ahead of time if you want. Then you can determine
All
whether or
right.
not you want to take it. All right. The devil's bargain
Sure.
is, you'll get the die, but unless you crit, everyone in melee range of it is going to take some harm from the blast, which would be Ken and Koakai at the moment, and potentially some of the rest of the like minor fleet.
Can I aid him?
If you can explain how you're aiding him from there.
Yeah, the crew members that are like pretty much attached to the creature right now are just gonna like kind of like point or just at least like try and fire something off to just show like where he should shoot it.
Light up his
Okay.
face.
You're kind of lighting it up to make it easier to see through the storm and stuff. I like that. Yeah, so you can take 1 stress, and that'll be 1 extra die for Riker, so you're up to 6 now. How you feeling about that?
So if I
die?
take the devil's bargain, it's 7.
7 dice, but unless you get 2 6s in there, people are gonna get hurt. It's up to you.
All right, what are y'all thinking?
Can you go up to 7 without the devil's bargain?
I don't believe so.
Are you already pushing yourself?
Yeah.
No. I mean, I don't mind if I get hurt. I have a lot of armor.
Yeah, armor can be used to reduce those consequences as well. Good point.
Honestly, it's an extreme effect. Like, kind of the it's kind of the
crazy shot.
moment you want to max out and go ham for a crit.
Yeah. All right.
I
So
can
fuck it.
also take some time to start patching people up if I need to.
All right. Cool. Then I guess we're doing it. I'm gonna roll 7 dice.
Go for it.
Yes. It's all ones.
See that crit.
So position is risky.
Risky, and I don't know if the slider has an extreme or not, but
No, it only
that's
goes up to
fine.
great.
Just mark it as great, but I'll remember in my head it's extreme.
So total of 7 dice. All right.
What?
1 6, no other 6, 3 1s. Unfortunately, some people are going to be taking harm here. But you do land the shot. Koakai sends up the flare, in addition to everybody trying to keep the snake still, using all of the force they can. The beast is so massive, though, that it moves at the last second. It hears the sound of you firing this extremely large round, and it pivots its head over to see it, and because of that, the round misses its head and falls lower, hits the scales around its body where everyone is gripping to this great beast. The explosion is going to hit Ken and Koakai and some of the fleet. However, with an extreme effect, you do bump up 3 segments of the piercing the armor clock.
All right. And as part
Oh,
of
actually, no.
firing the crimson shot.
Is that correct? Should be 4 for an extreme effect. Yeah. So
Nice.
as part of that, sorry.
As part of the crimson shot, I have to take a trauma, so filled with a little regret for all the harm that's about to happen. So I'm taking the haunted trauma.
Okay. Excellent. Let me double check something real quick, because I can't remember if taking a trauma automatically refills your stress or only if you take a trauma from stress. Apologies. Yep. Okay, so you do get all your stress back upon getting this trauma, so you may recover that. However, you are out of the action for a significant amount of time, for what the game calls a scene. However, this whole one-shot is just going to be essentially one big scene, so I'm not going to quite call it that. But you are going to be out of the action for a bit here. So it's not necessarily a consequence. It's almost like a built-in devil's bargain to that shot, based on just what the crimson shot is. That rocks your boat so much, you weren't quite expecting it. The waves are rocking your boat around. That shot just kind of tears the boat a little bit, and you have to spend some time working on repairs before you can risk taking shots with any of your other weapons.
Fair enough.
As it's just such a massive blow. All right, but you've done pretty massive damage. Ken and Koakai. Since you're in the blast of such a massive explosion, but it didn't hit you directly, I'm going to call this a level 2 harm exploded, I guess. Yeah. level 2 harm exploded. So go ahead and mark that in one of your level 2 harm boxes. And any time that you think exploded, or anytime we think collectively that this exploded condition would affect what you're doing, whether it's, your hull's been beaten up quite a bit, so maybe, certain things aren't working quite right, you'll be taking -1 die on rolls that are affected by that.
Can I get in and use a couple of...
You kind of cut out there. What was that?
You were
just
tremendously quiet that time. We'll be back.
Oh, is she back?
Is my Wi-Fi being weird?
Oh, I can hear you now.
I
Okay.
hear you now.
Use repair kits, please.
Oh, yes. So if you've got a roll for that or an ability for that or whatever, go for it.
I
I've
was
got
going to try
3
and
uses.
mitigate
Okay.
this with my shielding.
That's another option you can do as well.
Yeah, you do that. I'll see how that falls out and then tax it up if
Yes.
we need it.
Yes, I was going to do the same thing.
Yes, this is a good time to bring up resistance. At any time, if there's any consequence you don't like, you can resist it. It doesn't have to be physical. You can resist it. However, you also have armor, which can be used to automatically resist physical things like being exploded. And you don't have to roll for that. It just works. So each of you who are using armor may check off one of your armor boxes, and you take a level 1 harm, we'll say battered, instead of the level 2 harm.
And Mersha, how does your economy work on the repair kit? Like, should we save our armor to let you do more repairing, or do you only have a limited number of repairs?
I have limited number of repairs and a skill that will come in handy if you guys get really hurt.
Okay, I'll use shielding then. So exploded is now less effect.
So yes, exploded becomes battered, and it is in the level 1 box instead of a level 2 box.
All right.
As your whole crew gets rocked by the explosion, your shielding holds, and some of it cracks and will no longer be effective. But your crew is safe and has not been directly harmed. Instead, everyone's just kind of been shaken and sent tumbling a little bit and had to get back up. So there are elements of that
was the blast shielded turrets.
Yes. So there are still elements of that are you're going to have less effect whenever your crew needs to do something where battered would come into play, which we'll figure out later. Figure out when we come to it. So Mersha, what are you doing? You said something about that?
Well, since they aren't too battered yet, I am going to load my cannon with the scale piercing bits that are like pointed, and I am going to fire it at the thing, I guess.
All right. So what skill are you using?
Can I use Rig since I designed the ship myself?
I will. I mean, I'll allow rig. It is going to affect how risky it is, though. I think. If you're not using like your crew's special talents, like getting in there and shooting or wrecking or skirmishing or whatever, and just relying on the technology, I'll put that at desperate for standard effects. I'm assuming this is a fine weapon, right?
Yes.
Okay, so it's a fine weapon, so it will be a standard effect.
Okay. And if I shoot, it would be risky standard?
If you shoot, it would be risky standard, yes. Also, you're alone. The scale would come into effect as well. Yeah, so I'd actually say risky limited in that case. Because a single ship or just a few ships going in with weapons isn't quite as effective against this giant titan.
All right. In that case, I will use my time to
Could push yourself if you want to.
hmm.
Or, I mean, you don't have to do anything here. I wanted to offer the chance for you to do something, but... there's no, like, turn order or forced actions or anything like that.
I'm gonna burn my fantasy duct tape on both of them to use, like, layers and layers of sap in really thick canvas and leather to just, like, slab it onto their ship to reinforce the battered bits.
Okay. Do you need to roll for that, or how does that work? Is that your doctor skill?
I think I just... It says it has uses.
Okay, is it you're using your doctor skill, though? Is that what you're using? Or are you using a piece of a loadout? I'm trying to figure out what you're doing here mechanically.
Yeah, I'm using 2 of my loadout uses.
Okay. Okay. I'll say that's a rig roll then. If you want to get in there and use those things to
Rig
patch
roll.
them up. Rig roll.
Never gonna hear.
So a rig roll, I'll say that's a standard effects risky because you're trying to get into the thick of things and patch them up in the middle of this fray.
Into the rig of it.
Should I do a straight roll or should I take 2 stress to push myself? I've already got 2 stress.
So
That's your call.
Yeah.
Let's see. There as well.
Also, do I have anything that works against trauma? I don't think so.
They don't have therapy in this world.
Therapy.
Trauma
Alright.
is extremely difficult to get rid of in the system. Definitely not something you can get rid of in the middle of combat. That is,
Yeah.
that's therapy.
I will take the 2 stress to give myself an extra die.
Okay. All right. Partial success. So you get in there, and I think how I'm going to treat this, because I'm going to assume this is a weaker version of your doctor skill, kind of hacking this together here, is that the next time that effect would trigger and they would get reduced effect, they can ignore it thanks to your duct tape. So you do get that success, and Ken and Koakai can each ignore that reduced effect from battered one time instead of the entire scene. However, as you get into the range of the thrashing snake, and it's very angry about just having this big explosion rocket and start to blast apart its scales, it dives down underwater and its tail flicks up and just clips the front of your boat and kind of sends you rocking backwards, and you're going to take level 2 harm, tail whipped.
The
You
second
can
word
produce
kind of
that.
whipped.
Yeah, I'm gonna use one of my
other
armor
side, Nick.
uses.
Okay, so you manage to
I
get your armor in
don't
position
know.
to block the blow.
Okay.
They're pretty equivalent. It doesn't really matter.
Do I like the pyramid of things? I don't know how to.
So which armors did you have?
I had reinforced hull,
Yes, so just armor, no shield, no heavy armor?
I think.
Okay, so just check off your armor box. You no longer have that as an option. Your armor has been
Okay.
consumed and is now broken, but has protected you from level 2 harm. So you take level 1 harm instead, which would be, let's say, tail slapped instead of tail whipped.
You could say the harm was reduced.
Okay.
You could say that, if you were so
Alright.
inclined.
Okay.
Alright, so you guys have made progress. You've begun to break apart some of the scales on its main body, but it did just dive down underwater. There's nothing for you to see at the moment. What are you doing?
Oh shit.
I would like to keep an eye out for the snake and try to give my teammates early warning should it resurface somewhere they're not expecting.
Okay, go ahead and tell me what role you're going to do for that.
Either probably scout or maneuver.
All right, so maneuver, I'd say has reduced effect, but is safer, and scout, I'd say, is riskier, but has a greater effect.
Let's take scout. Push it to desperate? Is that what you do? Or is it I have to push myself?
I'll say this will be, for scout, it would be risky standard.
Risky standard.
If you want to push that to desperate, great, you may. That's a standard thing anyone can do. You can also push yourself to gain effect on that as well. So it would be risky great then, but you'd take 2 stress. And then you could also push yourself for an extra die, another 2 stress, or take a devil's bargain as well. Bunch of options.
I will scout and push it to desperate.
Okay, so desperate, great, scout. Any other options you're taking?
Nah.
All right, desperate, great, scout roll. Go ahead.
And so that'll be boop.
Okay. Partial success, but because it was a desperate roll, extremely risky, you suffer severe harm, a serious complication, or reduced effect as part of the process. I think I know what I'm going to do for this. So, you fly around above, trying to look down into the waters, trying to figure out where this beast could be hiding, where it's about to jump up. And you do spot it, thankfully. As you fly over, you see its 2 red eyes glowing deep within the water, looking straight up at you. And for a moment, it's almost as if the entire world freezes as the eyes are looking directly at you. You can tell they're making eye contact with you, Hector, directly. And you begin to feel psychic influences of this massive beast begin to tear your mind apart. You take 4 corruption.
And we've been.
Oh god.
Doesn't do anything until your corruption is full, but 4 corruption is 2/3 of your corruption bar.
Yikes.
However, you are able to mutter out where the beast is to the rest of your allies. You found it. You know its location. You know it's getting ready to strike. It is ready and waiting for you guys, about to tear up out of the water. Who's doing what?
Am I able to use a reliquary to reduce other people's corruption that they take, or only mine?
Only yours.
Only yours.
Okay.
Unless you protect him, in which case you could jump in the way, take the consequence for him, reduce it that way. That is the thing you can do.
I can take it.
Could I instead use one of my bulwark abilities?
Okay.
Spend an anchor use as special armor against a consequence to a squad you are defending?
I would say if you jump in and take it for him, you'd be defending him, which then would mean you could bulwark it, yeah.
Okay, so I have to take it myself to do that.
I think so, yeah. That's my understanding of the defending rules there.
Okay.
So you would get special armor, it would reduce the effectiveness of the corruption on you, and then your reliquary would also jump in as well.
Yeah, I will do that, and I'll spend 1 anchor use.
Okay. So Sorry,
I was just gonna say I'll like have the Koakai control the ocean water to come up and block whatever was damaging him.
So it was staring at Hector, and so as Hector is pointing down into the water, and this thing's eyes are glowing red, and he finally notices where it is, you would probably have to drive your ship in the way or something to kind of get between Hector and it, so it was looking at you instead of Hector. It's not like it's like line of sight, so. Okay.
Storm's honor in there.
So you get in the way. Hector, you do not take any corruption. Koakai, you would take level 4 corruption minus whatever you're doing to resist it. If you're spending an anchor, that reduces it to 3. because you are resisting it by 1.
And then I will use my relic, one of my reliquaries as well.
All right.
So spend to reduce corruption by 1, taken by 1, and plus 1d to resist it.
All right. Well, you already resisted it with your special armor, so no need to take the second part there. But you do get -1 corruption down to 2 now.
Cool.
Damn, tank power.
Yeah.
Tank power.
Wow, thank you.
This is real.
Hell yeah, you got it.
All right, Koakai. Unfortunately, that puts you in a pretty bad position as you just drove over the snake as it was under the water, and it's charging up towards you from below with its jaws open. There's a couple things we can do here. The threat is looming. It hasn't happened yet, so you don't necessarily need to resist it yet. If anyone wants to make any actions to try and stop this from happening, that's a possibility. But the threat is the extremely powerful jaws of the snake coming at you imminently.
Could I make a maneuver check to try and control the water to move my ship out of the way?
I will allow that. I do think your battered condition would come into effect here, but you are able to reduce that 1 time thanks to the duct tape from earlier. So,
Could I potentially, like, help with a discipline, like bark a command, get out of the way, that kind of thing?
There's a couple options there. You can either lead a group check with him, and maneuver that way, which would be a maneuver roll, or you could just take a stress and assist. I think would be the two things.
Okay.
I don't think there's quite time for a setup action, which is what normally a barking a command would
That
be.
would
But
be what that is. Okay.
yeah, yeah. I mean, you could explain the assistance as barking a command, just like you did earlier. But
Right.
yeah,
Yeah. Sure. What is stress for?
yeah. It's to spend.
Or sorry, stress. What is it good for?
Exactly.
So I get +1.
So you get +1 die to your maneuver roll. It sounded like you're making. I don't.
Yes.
Okay. So this is going to be a desperate roll because the threat is huge. However, it will be a standard effect. If you manage the roll, you'll get out of there. I mean,
Would it be possible for me to utilize one of my rocket propelled drill charges to see if I can either divert the snake or slow it down to lessen the effect if they're not able to move out of the way?
if they're not able to move out of the way, that would be into consequence territory and then resistance rolls, in which case I think that would pop up, yeah. So if you wanted to help, if you wanted to resist the roll for Koakai, you could do that once the consequence comes up.
Okay, I'm gonna push myself here.
Okay. Would you like a devil's bargain?
No thanks.
Okay.
Okay.
The consequence is get eaten.
All right, let's roll it. So, yeah. All right. Hell yeah.
All right.
All right.
It was a desperate roll with a complete success. Despite the situation being terrifying, with the help of a few friends, you're able to push your crew out of the situation. And the last ship makes it just barely to the side as the snake rises up out of the water, terrifying, almost up to the elevation that Hector is at before slamming back down into the water. The threat is now the spray of icy ocean water all over you guys who are nearby it. What are you going to do about that?
What the fuck is up with that?
I'll say, Ken, Koakai, and Mersha, you three are close enough for this to affect you.
Okay, hold on a sec.
Boy, if only I'd had something insulating instead of dope-ass sails.
Are we taking harm from this?
Very cool.
Not yet. The threat is approaching, but it hasn't quite hit you yet. It's not quite into... This is, It's a narrative threat, not a consequence yet. So a consequence would have happened if you didn't get a success on the previous roll. Something bad would have happened. But since you got a full success, there's no immediate consequence. You're not taking harm yet. You have a chance to make action rolls instead of resistance rolls. So less stress, basically.
I will shout commands to my crewmates or crewmen, crew people, whatever. I don't know boat words. Anyway, I'm going to tell them all to duck and cover under their cloaks to avoid getting unduly wet from the freezing torrent.
Okay. So command roll then. Is that what you're thinking? Or whatever, discipline?
Discipline, yeah.
I was planning on doing the same.
Group roll. Nice.
All right. What are the parameters for that?
Well, first let's see what Kolkai's doing. Do you want to jump in a group roll here as well, Kolkai? Or what you thinking?
Mine's not very good, but sure, I'll join.
All right. Well, that's the benefit of the group roll, is that you get to benefit from Hector helping you, Ken helping you out here. All right. So I will say after this, Riker, I think it'll have been long enough. Yes.
Sweet.
And Riker, do you still have more ammo? Like Calamity
I don't
ammo?
have another Crimson shot, but I have enough. I have Calamity rounds.
Because I was going to I was planning to use my channels to get you more big shots.
Okay.
Let's
handle that.
More big shots.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's handle that after. But yes.
Yeah, firing another Crimson shot would kill me.
Oh.
Yeah, 2 traumas will kill you. That is true.
Yeah, but we killed the snake though, right?
Yeah, it would be a big shot. Anyways, let's handle the current roll first.
Yeah.
There's 3 people doing command rolls, or discipline rolls. Thank you. I will say this is risky and standard. I mean, if standard, as in if it works, it works. You'll be able to brace for the impact, but it does have some chance of not working out, so it is risky. So all 3 of you, please roll that discipline roll.
Right. Second discipline, and I'm doing the. Am I leading group action here?
Yes.
Standard risky. Okay. So I will take a stress.
You do take a stress because there was 1 failure. However, there also was a full success in there. So you guys brace for impact. You completely avoid that danger. Everyone covers themselves up in time for the rain of frigid water to wash over you without being quite as impactful as it would have been.
I don't know if improving the scale in any or by 1 level actually makes a difference there, but
probably in that case reducing your scale would have. But either way, you got a full success because you're trying to be smaller to avoid an area of effect or something. Yeah. Either way, reducing scale can be helpful sometimes too.
Yeah. Sorry, it's improved by 1 level, so I can reduce it by 1.
Yeah. Either way, you guys got out of that danger for now. The snake is now floating in the water like it once was. Very angry that it's not been able to get any purchase on you guys so far. You guys are kind of tearing it apart. And Riker, at this point, as you see all of your allies struggling in melee with this thing, you have finished your repairs on your ship. Your crew is back where they need to be.
All right.
Who's doing what?
And I will take another shot with a Calamity round.
Can I do a setup to shoot a flare at it?
I'll allow setup action. Yes. A setup action. What action are you trying to take here?
I want to fire my flare cannon at it to make its aiming easier.
Skill rating are you using for this?
Oh, shoot. Sorry.
Shoot. Okay, yes. Shoot. I'll say, since you're up close to this thing and it is thrashing about very angrily, this would be desperate for standard effect.
I was actually going to see if I could do the same thing. I also have a flare gun.
Oh, it'll probably be easier for you. Let's just let you do it on this occasion.
Okay.
I wanted to see if I could maneuver into position to land a flare on a sensitive spot.
Okay. I'll allow that for risky for limited effect. Since you're not shooting, I think the effect is a little more limited, but you could push yourself to bump that up to risky standard.
Okay, I
Or
will go ahead and
desperate
push.
standard. That's possible too without stress.
I will go ahead and push myself to take the 2 stress to push that up to a standard effect.
All right, risky standard maneuver roll, please. So you just get your ship
Alright.
in line to just kind of fire the flare directly down at it.
Alright, maneuver, risky, standard. Roll, and I will add 2 stress.
All right, you do it. Full success. So many 6s tonight, guys. Crazy luck.
Ugh.
Some
Love to
good
see
ass
it.
luck.
Rolling the highest number is so much easier when there's only 6 of them.
True. It's not a crit though. It takes 2 of those. We only had 1 of those so far. Or we haven't had any of those so far. No, we did. We did have
We did.
1
It was a group roll.
on the group roll. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, Hector, go ahead and describe what you do there.
One of my little scout ships swoops in, and the secondary crewmate for that ship will lean out the back and fire a long barrel flare gun, and the sticky flare attaches to its head.
Perfect.
And emits a long red stream of smoke into the air.
All right, Riker, you've got a target. You will
Alright.
take improved position on that. It's easier for you to aim, less likely you'll hit your allies in the fray.
Okay.
Hog?
And I may as well take my last aim use, because why the fuck not?
Okay, so let's see. I'll say this would have been desperate, because a lot of your allies are up close to this thing, and the beast is not being held down like it was before it's thrashing about. So it would have been desperate. There would have been a high chance for you to harm somebody in this. But because of the flare, that's pushed up to risky. And I would say standard effect, because you've got big fucking weapons. Normally I'd require you to have like a group action or something to go up to standard, but Riker specializes in these ridiculous stuff. And you're using a Calamity round, right? So that should be standard.
Correct.
Your last aim use will push that up to great.
Riker.
Standard for great effect. Would you like a Devil's Spark?
Hold on. I'm
Would like
listening.
to hear it at least? Okay. When you take the shot, whether you pass or fail, some of the fleet will get caught in the fray. Not your allies, but the fleet.
That might hurt my reputation, so I think I'm going to control this chaos a little bit.
All
and
right.
I'll skip that one. Could I instead offer putting a little too much power into this shot and taking a lesser harm, like a level 1 harm?
So what you can do there is you can always shift the position to a more risky position to take a greater effect. However, you're already at great effect thanks to your aim use. So
Right.
it's going to take a lot to get you to extreme again.
Okay.
Probably even more than last time because you're not using the super big round. You could take desperate great without having to use your aim effect though, if you want to avoid using that yet.
If you want more die, I think you can also push yourself to add a die to the pool, right?
That's true as well. 2 stress for an extra die.
So
Is pushing
I
yourself
wanted
to
to-
stress? Sorry.
It is
I
2
wanted to
stress.
start. Okay. Here's the thing. I wanted to start trying to take advantage of my stressful trait. So I wanted to fire off a round large enough that it might harm a little bit, because when I'm under harm, I have increased potency when harm penalized.
Okay.
So I don't know.
You know what? Hey, I'll allow you, as a devil's bargain, to inflict harm on yourself here. That is very much the old ways of this land, in which sacrifice grants strength.
There we go.
The deep magics, the first rules written on this land, are that sacrifice is what grants strength. So, you can inflict on yourself a we'll say level 2 harm blood sacrifice in order to gain. I'll give you an extra die on this as well if you take that. That's the devil's bargain.
The Scourge approves.
Yeah,
Exactly. Blood magic runs deep. It's one of the oldest magics in this world.
My guy's been eating demons.
Yeah, we're continuing the Gorfian tradition.
Exactly.
Yeah, sure. I'll do that.
Devil's
Like
bargain.
no one else will will be harmed.
Okay, so going over that again then real quick. This is a risky great effect at the moment. You get the +1 die from pushing yourself, right? You get the +1 die from the Devil's Bargain. That's 2 stress. You get the extra 2 dice. You can bump that from down to Desperate and above Great. And then if you get to that point and you use an aim use, I'll put that at Extreme at this point because of your increased potency from the effect.
Fuck it, we'll take the extreme.
Okay, so this will be Desperate, Great. You take those 2 stress, you take the harm. Big bargains, big deals.
Gun.
Okay, so that's how many dice is that?
You get 2
base
extra
4.
dice, but it is an extreme effect.
Okay, so I get 6 dice.
6 total.
Spicy.
Oh,
my
Oh, somebody won! Yo, hey, you gotta, hey,
Shit,
at least that 1-5 saved you, alright?
Oh my god.
This poor Riker, man.
Load up your whole ship.
Yes, in fact, that is the consequence. The severe harm here, Riker, is going to be a level 4 harm fucking nuked.
Oh no.
So,
Wait, what?
level 4 harm. Hold on one
I'm
sec.
going to spend a doctor use.
Hold
Okay.
on, we gotta hear this.
One
though.
second, we'll get to that.
Okay.
First, there's some other things that trigger first, but level 4 harm is instant death. You can resist that to bring it down to a level 3 harm if you wish.
Yeah,
assume you
we'll do
wish.
that. We'll do that.
Okay, so a resistance roll. You can either spend armor on this to instantly do that, or you can roll. I'd say in this case, it's going to be a resolve resistance roll.
I'll reduce the armor.
All right, so check off one of your armor boxes that you have in your loadout. So you have like armor and a shield, right? Something like that, or just armor?
Just armor.
So you check off that armor box. You are out of armor uses now, but you do reduce that to a level 3 harm. Hole in the hull, we'll say.
Rules question?
Yes.
If hypothetically we were to flash back to when he remembered to bring a shield with him as well, could he reduce it to a level 2 help?
You can't do multiple
Or
resistances per consequence, unfortunately.
Cool,
But
cool.
You
Very
could give him additional armor to use in the future, or if there's a future consequence, you could say, actually, you do have armor because of my channels.
Flash. Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But we can't make this not.
Right, can't reduce it even
Yeah.
further. So, Riker is now in a level 3 harm state, which means you need help. Riker cannot act unless he's either being assisted or pushing himself. Otherwise, you are in a bad situation. You are actively sinking, Riker, but you have not sunk yet.
Woo!
Landgrave's gonna command the ship, and Murpha's going to jump over with her tools and some crewmates carrying a whole bunch of stuff and spend a repair kit use.
Okay, so is this your doctor action?
I can use it that way. I also have load out 3 repair kits.
Okay, I think this is going to be a little bit more severe than the repair kit will help
Okay,
you.
so I'll use the doctor action.
Yeah, I think the repair kit could probably patch him up temporarily, like you did previously with the duct tape, and give him like one more action. But if you want to actually reduce the harm for the rest of the scene, it'll be a doctor action.
Mm-hmm.
However, I will also say you are quite far away from Riker at the moment. You're up in melee with a snake, and Riker is standing back sniping. So you're gonna need a way to get over there.
Riker's Islands.
So, what skill are you going to roll to get over there? Or to get the repair materials there or whatever? the current. I guess you don't necessarily need to get over there, but the current obstacle between you and Riker is distance. However you want to solve that is up to you.
How much distance?
I mean, Riker said he stood pretty far back, so I'll say a far distance.
Yeah.
You want some speed?
What are you, a guy in a van?
I could use that. I'm also thinking about using rig to adjust the sails in an experimental fashion to pick up some speed.
It's up to you. What are we doing here? What are you suggesting, Hector?
Basically just a drive-by pickup of the people and dropping them off. I could do that with the Shrike small craft or with the large craft.
What do you think, Mersha?
The Shrikes would be easier, honestly. And they're fast as fuck.
Yeah, we'll take the pickup. That way we can carry supplies easier.
Okay. I'll say thanks to the speed of the Shrike vessels, but having to dash down and grab the supply materials and engineers from Mersha's ship, this will be desperate great. On a... What skill are you using? I'm assuming maneuver, but...
I'm using a doctor skill, which
you
I
are.
don't think does rolls.
Hector needs to roll to get you there, though.
Maneuver.
Okay.
Absolutely.
That's what I was asking for. You need to use some sort of skill to get you there, because you're fictionally separated from Riker in the moment, so you need some way to get to him before you...
Yeah.
Then once you doctor him, that won't require a roll.
Yep.
Desperate great.
Desperate great sounds good to me. I will... Let's see. On this, I get a +1 from it being desperate. What would a devil's bargain be here?
Oh boy. I think a devil's bargain here would be that Mersha's ships with less people aboard to man them are probably... I'll thank you, Riker. Thank you for the reminder. I'll get to that right after this roll. I'll say that Mersha's ships with less people to man them will be under the effects of essentially a harm if you take the devil's bargain, but you will get that +1. It'll be a level 1 harm, nothing crazy. It'll be a temporary harm, though, that will be resolved once you get the people back to Mersha's ships later, potentially.
Does that work for you?
Yeah.
Alright, I'll take that and take that additional +1, so I'm up to 5 dice for this maneuver.
So Mersha, go ahead and take the level 1 harm reduced forces, and that'll be resolved once you get your forces back. Go ahead and make that roll. Critical success!
Let's go, baby.
Hey, yo!
Let's go, baby.
Okay, I'll say that, so critical success does it with increased effect. So I'll say that you get them there, they do the doctoring, and you get them back, all as part of this one roll, so you can go ahead and remove that harm, Mersha. You're fine.
Let's go!
And you use your doctor ability, Mersha, right?
Yes.
Which lets Riker ignore the penalties of a harm for a scene. Is that correct? Ignore harm penalties for one scene. Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
So
pretty pug.
Riker, Mersha's crew got here. They patched up your ship. And your current harm penalty, your level 3 harm, is still there, and you still have a hole on your ship. But it's been patched up so well by Mersha's quick thinking, Mersha and Landgrave's quick thinking, that you are able to ignore it for now. You're able to continue through this scene without issue. So, let's get to what that shot did to this beast. You got a partial success, which means that complication occurred. However, it is still a success. Not a full success, not a critical success, but a success. So, I will say what happens here is your shot...
It was an extreme shot, though.
It was an extreme shot, correct. So, I will say, instead of hitting the head, you hit the body. But you were already hitting the body before, and you were already weakening the body before. So I'm going to say you complete with what would be 3 segments here, because you got a reduced effect from the partial success. You complete the piercing the armor clock. And I am going to create a new clock called Snake Internal Damage. I'll put that there, and you also tick that by 1. As you hit the spot that you hit before,
Nice.
and you shatter a bunch of scales along the side of the snake, and there's just this exposed fleshy inside that is now leaking blood out into the waters. Alright. The danger currently for everyone up close is that the waters are being filled with this deep, deep red, almost black blood that is so cold it is freezing the waters on impact, creating shards of ice, and the strange vapor is filling the air as well. What are you all doing? Or who's doing what? Who's taking an action here?
Staying the fuck away.
Is the... Yeah, am I able to make a maneuver check to move away to try and get to safer waters?
You may indeed.
Boy, I'm trying to see what to do here.
There is a new weakness exposed in the snake. You can shoot for its eyes, mouth, and now there's a weak spot on its side as well. They're all options.
Actually, am I close to it right now?
You're pretty close, yeah.
If I have a good shot on its weak spot right now, I think I'm just gonna actually just try and fire one of my cataclysm bullets or whatever they are.
Okay.
Action again?
And he'll shout down below and say, "Fire the turtle head!"
What did you say, Cam, as well?
Oh, I was floating the possibility of a group wreck action.
Possibility. And if everyone wants, or whoever wants to bite and help out with that, may. It's up to you guys.
Yeah, I'm gonna use a cataclysm shot.
Okay.
What is this group action for?
So, just a reminder that participating in a group action does open you up to the consequences of it as well. Everyone who participates gets consequences if consequences occur.
Yeah,
But
how about we
I'm
let
pretty
the
sure-
cataclysm shot be on its own?
Alright, so we'll let that one happen first. Then we'll get to, unless other people want to offer suggestions. I don't want to direct things too much.
I was thinking about joining in the shooting.
Okay.
But
I can do
you know, I'm gonna hold out with the Calamity rounds. Make sure I can, like, you know, do patch up things if needed.
Riker, you're not allowed to shoot anymore.
The mad
Yes, I
scientist
am.
has exploded too many times.
Why do you think I need this apparatus to live?
So I can't shoot, but I can wreck. Could I wreck as part of this group action?
The proposed
could
group
we
action was
do-
wreck.
Could we
But-
do a group setup wreck in order to like
Set up
open
Kolkai
up the
for
weak spot better?
that's a possibility. Yeah, group setup wreck.
Hector, what do you think about that?
Can I do a setup for a setup?
Ooh, I don't. I mean, yes, you can.
Okay.
However, that's now 3 different actions that have 3 chances for consequences to happen. Just saying.
Yeah, whatever.
You can do it.
I fucking love it.
Well, I was going to research some tactics and communicate them.
Okay. I'll say because you're so up close to the snake, this is still going to be risky, not controlled. If you were farther away, this would be controlled.
Mhm.
But I'll say this is risky for standard effects as a setup action. You can go ahead and do that. And alter that as you will with whatever skills you have.
I'm just gonna do a straight setup action.
Okay. There's a partial success. Let's see. So you're doing a research for what goal again? Remind me.
To aid in the tactics of this wrecking plan.
Okay. So this will improve. I'll say this will improve because it's tactical. You'll improve their position. It'll make it a little less risky for them. Unfortunately, the thing that you research, what you uncover that is something they should avoid, is the blood in the water. As your boat is surrounded by the blood in the water, and the vapors start to reach your crew, and you are going to take. You're going to take 2 corruption as the blood of this titan begins to influence all of your crew. These vapors are starting to mess with their heads.
All right.
But you do grant greater position to the others, as you're able to tell them at all costs avoid the blood.
All right, cool.
Yeah, we can tell that from up here.
Gee, thanks.
But
There's
hey,
clouds of it, though, right?
it makes your consequences less bad if this goes wrong.
Yeah, it's very strange. Sort of as it's hitting the water, it's releasing like red vapors into the air and little clouds, but also, yes, the deep black into the water as well.
Alright.
So, group rec
So
rolls, what I thought I heard?
Yeah, I will shout out, "Yar, hold it steady!"
All right, who was participating? We got Hector and Ken. Is that it? Did Riker want to shoot in from the rear as well?
Yeah, I can add a rec with a standard ammo.
Cool.
Is this before my cataclysm shot happens?
This is
Yes.
all the
Yes.
setup.
So, because it's a setup for you, it's gotta. You can't participate in a setup for your own action. So.
Sounds great.
But
Obama giving himself a medal meme.
I'm going to use a charge of my rocket-propelled drill charges.
okay.
Uh,
The rocket propelled drill charges are which one?
that is the black arrow substitute. So it's like the normal.
Gotcha. It's like a calamity.
card?
Yes. It's like you're effectively calamity around here. So
Yeah.
that will give you. Oh boy. Normally that would be improved effects, but that won't really do much in a setup roll. So I'll give you better position here. So for Hector, this will be a controlled standard roll, and for Ken, this will be a risky standard roll, unless you want to bump something in there, Ken.
Probably not gonna push myself on this one.
All right, risky standard and controlled standard. Up to you guys how you're affecting that.
All right.
I think we're just going, right?
Yeah, I think I'm just gonna go with it.
All right. Oh boy.
Oh boy! Oh wow!
Group roll. It's a group roll.
So
Though.
yeah, thanks to
Thank goodness.
Hector getting that 6, you guys do it, but you do take that stress, Ken.
God damn.
Oh, do remember the scale is 1 higher.
The scale is 1 higher. Okay, this will improve your
was-
effect to a great effect. That works for me. So, great effect in this setup roll. I will say you guys do a great job of distracting the snake. And that definitely improves the positioning that Koakai is in. I'm going to say this bumps up your effect and position by 1 instead of just affecting your position like it was going to do, Koakai. Now, your position is pretty bad to start because you're 1 set of ships charging in for 1 action here. However, thanks to your fine weapons and the assistance of your teammates, this will be standard and risky to start here. Would have been desperate limited, but now it's standard risky.
Can I take a shot at the same time?
This would be a group action if you want to do it at the same time. And you both have to choose the same action.
Were you gonna shoot?
I was not gonna shoot.
Never mind then.
Maybe we'll jump back to Riker after this one. Also, you just participated in the wreck, right? Or did you not?
Riker didn't roll for the wreck.
Oh, Riker.
Yeah, I don't think he did.
No, I didn't.
Okay, so you could have jumped in for whatever skill Kolkai's doing. But... We'll jump back to Riker afterwards or something, I think.
Yeah, that's fine.
So, Koakai, right now you are at Risky Standard. If you want to alter that to Desperate Great, you may. But there's other options. You can push yourself. You can take a Devil's Bargain. All sorts of things. Other abilities.
What was that?
How close am I to Kolkai at this point?
You're right up there.
Okay, cool. That's good.
All up-ins, as the scholars do say.
I think your anchor uses can be used for fighting too, right? Depending on what you're doing.
Yeah. I was gonna say I wouldn't mind trying to use a skirmish here, or if not, I'd use an anchor.
Yeah, skirmish or wreck could both make sense here. It's up to you.
Yeah, I'm gonna use a skirmish here, and try and fire that cataclysm shot. Fire down, or he'll shout down, "Sidra, fire!"
All right. So, if you're not pushing yourself, not taking any bargains, this is just Risky Standard on this shot.
Bargain.
Yeah, I'm kind of tempted to use a bargain here.
Okay. If you want this to die, the bargain will be that this shot will make the snake thrash about quite a lot, and it's gonna do some damage to the rest of the fleet.
I got armor. I'm good for it.
Oh, sorry. As in, to be more specific, it will tick some progress on this clock.
Jesus.
Which is the rest of the fleet that are not controlled by player ships, the sort of minor vessels that are making up the bulk of the forces here. You guys can keep fighting even as the fleet has fallen, but it will start to affect your rolls quite a bit as far as your position. I should also say this should probably be more like just 6 o'clock. Yeah.
Okay, I'll do it. And so is that what happens whether I succeed or not?
That is going to happen no matter what, but the severity of I'll say on a full success, 1 tick, down to a failure will be 3 ticks, a scale.
Well, it's not like they're real people, right? Like, they're NPCs. They came here to die.
It's up to you. But yeah, no matter what, if you take the bargain, the fleet will be a little closer to falling.
Can I flashback to raise this to a great effect?
Depends on what the flashback is.
Could I flashback and say that I had the lining of this cannon magically enchanted so that it would attune with the cataclysm bolts and just fire them with extra power?
I think. I think that kind of flashback would be possible, but I would make it quite expensive, and there would definitely be a chance of failure. So you'd have to roll for it, because you'd have to be able to convince the rest of the fleet that you really need this extra equipment instead of giving it to someone else. So I'd probably make that I mean, you can choose which skill you want to use at the end of the day, but different skills will have different effects here. Probably something like a sway or a command roll or something will be most effective.
Oh shit! I forgot I had to make a check for
that.
What's
if
that?
you want to use channels, yeah, that's a possibility.
How badly do you want this?
What is a channel?
That's my officer ability. That it lets me essentially do really, really beefy flashbacks, where I use my my political connections and my status to get us things we need.
Yeah, I definitely want this one.
All right, I will flashback. I can't click on channels.
So yeah, so channels, if you hover over it, it will give you the text.
No, when you have a pop-out window. Hold up.
Oh, fair enough. So make a sway roll to determine quality. Specialist actions are not rolled. Each use acquires an asset in a flashback, and you can expend multiple uses to bump up the quality. So basically, you roll sway, and the quality levels are 1 to 3. With a fine weapon, which I assume you're already using a fine weapon, Koakai, right? The weapon you want to use in this.
Yeah, I believe. Let me look at my notion sheet. This is my fine wrecking kit. Yeah.
Fine wrecking kit. Okay. So you would need to reach a quality level of 4 for this, which would be, you'd probably need to hit a full success and use 2 uses of channels to get this here.
Okay.
It's going to be expensive to make a weapon above fine quality.
Yeah.
That's pretty tricky.
Remind me what fine stuff does. Sorry.
Normally it's when you're in combat with something, the normal thing to do is compare your threat level with the threat level of the opponent, and fine equipment lets you act at 1 threat level higher when you use it, essentially.
Okay, thank you.
But the way this plays out, you guys are at -1 threat level compared to this guy, and you need to use fine equipment to get your equipment not a penalty against it.
Yeah.
And if I were to push myself right now, that would traumatize me. But would it roll over a stress, or would it go to 7 and then reset to 0?
It would go to 7 and reset to 0.
Hog, love that part. You're gonna have a
and-
breakdown, why not go whole hog?
Yeah. It is actually the 7th box that gives you trauma. The 6th box is just you're right on the edge.
So out of curiosity, if I went to 8, would it?
Nope, would not overflow. You ignore all overflow.
Love it. Okay.
So either way, you're gonna get taken out for a minute.
Yep.
Well, I mean, what is fighting a snake if you're not going to have a mental breakdown? Channels! Flashback to having a conversation with, I don't know, what, the Grand Admiral, the King?
Probably in this
Dave?
case, Cedric. Cedric Hayes.
Yeah, Cedric.
So you need a cannon even more reinforced than normal.
Yar.
Yar.
Turtle. Koakai. Koakai. The turtle has a particularly strong set of Calamity ammo. We're going to need the finest thing our people can create.
All right, go ahead and roll for that. See if he likes it.
And I am going to sway and push myself for an extra die.
Okay, sway. Push yourself for an extra die. Devil's bargain.
What's the bargain?
The bargain will be that this cannon is possible to create, but every time it is fired, it'll have some kind of consequence. So it's right on the edge of what is possible to make. The bleeding edge. It's too powerful. It's like Riker's equipment. But you get that extra die.
Riker probably made the damn cannon.
What's that?
Riker would probably be the one to make it.
Potentially. Maybe a collaboration between Landgrave and Riker, or Mersha and Riker.
Probably.
Yeah.
Up to you, though.
Kolkai, I will give you some input on this.
Cannon so briefly to fire.
I can take the consequence.
Alright, I'm taking it then.
All right.
5d6. Do I need to have the position and effect on that?
It'll be controlled great.
Okay.
Not really a chance of much happening here.
Yep. Alright.
Partial success. Okay. So
And I do have a traumatic event.
you do have a traumatic event. You used your channels. And because it's a great effect, actually, I did mention a great effect, and you did use the extra channels to make it work. This does work. You do get the thing, because if it was a standard effect, that would have been only a 3 quality item. Because it's a great effect, that goes up to 4. So you get the you can call it like extra fine wrecking materials now, Koakai, instead of fine. All of that flashback was resolved to give you great effect on this roll, Koakai.
Do I get to choose my trauma?
You do.
Hog. So hard to choose between reckless and unstable. Could I have both?
You will die. So Koakai, you are making, what was it, a skirmish roll, which is now at standard great.
Standard great, okay.
You can push yourself, make bargains, etc.
Yeah, I think I already made the devil's bargain
Right.
to do damage to the fleet.
That's right.
Alright, let's roll it.
All right. Full success with a great roll. You get in there with the Calamity round. You get right up close to this thing, and since all of your friends are helping distract it, it doesn't notice you approach. You're able to aim the cannon perfectly and fire this Calamity round directly into the weak spot of the snake, doing 3 ticks of damage on the internal damage clock as it reels back. And because it was a full success, it does splash against the water, and some of the extremely frigid water, now mixed with its own blood, coats some of the ships in the fleet. Fortunately, it could have been worse. It hit one of the smaller groups nearby, not one of the larger groups. And those ships, you see people reaching out, trying to fire their cannons and little things to help distract it. Some of them rowing oars as they're completely frozen solid and their ships begin to sink.
Wait, ice floats.
Their ships begin to sink. Their bodies don't. Their bodies are frozen.
Wood floats too.
They're metal.
They're metal ships, and there's also demon
water.
blood involved. Yeah.
I'm the worst person I know.
Anyways, Snake is obviously not happy about this situation.
We're walking.
So what it's going to do now is this is not a consequence for last action, but what it is going to do is I'm going to invoke a great threat from the GM, which is the snake is going to try and chomp at all of you nearby, which would be Koakai, Ken, and Landgrave and Mersha. It is going to try to deal level 3 harm to all of you directly, as it just sees that you guys are the bulk of the threat here. It's been fighting against the weak shit, it's been fighting against explosives from above, but it's taken so much damage from you guys here recently. It's just swinging around with its tail and trying to chomp at you. It's focusing its efforts on you right now. So, you may try to resist this. What's up, Riker?
I was gonna ask if I could try to shoot it to just like stun it or distract it with the Calamity round.
I will say you can attempt to protect them, if that's what you want to do, and take the consequence instead. But since it's a dire consequence against 3 people, it's going to be pretty bad for Riker if you do so.
It's alright, Riker's already sinking.
Nope, y'all are on your own.
You're
For that
dying anyway.
Exactly. I mean, listen. Shh. All right, that's it. That's all I got.
All right, so
Our
Mersha,
sword is
Hector, Mersha, Koakai, and Ken, not Hector. You 3 were close to it, and it is trying to tear you all apart. This is level 3 harm it's trying to inflict on all of you. What are you doing about it?
I would like to try and resist that. Well, I could just. Can I armor it anyway if my resistance option doesn't work?
So, resistance rolls are always successful. It's just how much stress do you take from a resistance roll.
Oh, right.
Armor is a stress-free way to get your resistance roll in.
Okay. I'm probably just going to take armor then.
Fair
I
enough.
got people to spend stress on.
So that'll go down to a level 2 stress. Level 2 harm, sorry.
It's
Tail
10
whips.
PM.
Again, we'll go back to that one.
Alright.
There's still 2 of you. Need to do something here.
Yeah, I'm gonna use armor as well.
Alright, down to level 2, tail whipped. Landgrave, Mersha, what you doing?
Is there any way I can try and maneuver out of the way?
Too late for that, unfortunately. This is a direct harm, not consequence, but this can come up when a threat is powerful enough it can act first. Doesn't happen very many times per mission, but it can happen. So you maneuvering out of the way could be represented by a resistance roll, for example, in this case.
How much would a resistance roll cost?
I would say this would be a prowess resistance roll. So you'd roll your prowess attribute, and you would take 6 stress minus the roll that you get.
All right, I'm gonna do that.
All right.
Hey DM.
Yeah.
If I wanted to try to do something real quick and act before it, would I be able to because of my Like the Wind ability?
What is your Like the Wind ability?
It's the one that says if there's a question of who goes first, it's you.
There is no question.
God damn it. Okay. Okay, just
I will
checking.
say that would give you an opportunity to maybe try to protect Mersha if you want to. Mersha Landgrave.
Protect is just taking the
You will
consequences
take the
for
consequence
someone?
instead and would have to resist it yourself, yeah.
When it comes down to
Or-
it, I can use a doctor thing if this doesn't work.
Well, it will work,
Okay,
you'll just
good.
take stress for it.
Yeah, I'll take it from Mersha.
Okay. Hector dives in to protect Mersha. Describe how you do that.
Basically that exactly, but instead of using, small ships to distract or explode, it basically I'm just gonna fly the bulk of the Goliath class in the way.
Okay, so your Goliath class will be taking level 3 harm. What's the actual top part of the Zeppelin called? I don't know.
A balloon?
Yeah, but isn't there like a more... There's like segments of it inside, right? Because it's not all one big fucking balloon.
It is compartmentalized.
We'll say punctured compartment, level 3 harm, which will cause you to have pretty severely reduced capabilities.
I can
but you
handle
resist
that. Yeah, I will attempt to resist that.
Okay, do
Do you have armor?
I do not have armor.
Okay, I will say this is a prowess resistance roll.
I do get +1 dice when resisting with prowess
There you go.
Fudge.
due to Like the Wind. So that'll
I
be
think that
3
will
dice
be
for me.
included, yeah.
Well, it's 2 because I have maneuver and wreck, and then +1 from that, so it's 3.
Oh, right. Which ability is this?
It's the Like the Wind ability. Also take +1d when resisting attacks with prowess.
Oh, yeah. Okay. No, that makes sense. I'm just wondering why the system didn't put 1 in your bonus dice from abilities column. But either way, you can add it to the modifier. That'll work. Okay, so you take 2 stress and you reduce the harm down to I don't know. Let's see. If it's not puncturing a compartment of your Zeppelin, it's probably hitting the, what did you call that below? Like the deck?
Yeah, the wooden deck, the wooden structure.
Okay, we'll say cracked deck, level 2 harm.
Yo, it's cracked.
I'll take that.
And Mersha
Cracked.
takes nothing.
Cracked deck. Okay.
Right. The snake has acted. It has finally had enough of you all, and it is on a rampage, but you guys have just weathered the storm so far. What are you doing?
Riker will take another shot at it. I mean, I don't have any more aim or anything, but I do have increased potency from my blood sacrifice and a calamity round.
Yep. So
I take
ignoring-
minus 1d.
you do take minus 1d from the blood sacrifice, but you will get the increased potency. So I will say this will be a great effect. And since everybody probably just got out of the way of the snake a little bit, this is only risky, not desperate.
Okay,
No shot. We'll get up to extreme again.
probably not.
That's gonna
I
be really
will.
hard. Yeah.
I
So
will.
flashback 1 stress?
It depends on what the flashback is. I determine that, and we can kind of discuss it. And then if you don't think if you think cost is too expensive, you can decide not to take it.
If I were to flashback and have Landgrave give Riker an experimental scope type thing that's like really fragile, one use only, that he can decide to use now, would that be 1 stress?
Remember, you don't get traumatized until you hit 7, so you can.
I think that might be 2 stress. That's a pretty big effect to ask for, but yes, I think 2 stress will work.
And that would improve position, correct?
Yes, I would think that would improve position. So this would go up to a controlled great roll.
Alright, yeah, I will do that.
Okay. Landgrave and Mersha are on the brink, barely holding it together, but holding it together nonetheless.
I will take 2 stress to push myself for an extra die.
Alright, so you have -1 from the thing. You have another 1 from that, so it's a neutral roll so far.
Alright, so I get 4 dice.
Yep, and it is controlled great. Basically the best roll you can ask for. Without really doing some crazy things to go up to extreme.
Alright, that takes my Calamity round into account, right?
Yep. Yeah, the Calamity round is helping offset your reduced scale versus the opponent here. Right. Snake's bigger than you. Calamity round lets you fight on more even footing. Alright.
God damn it.
Partial success, but because this is a controlled action, the consequences are a lot weaker. You'll notice that the text on the bottom has changed a bit. You got a minor complication, reduced effect, where you suffer lesser harm. Maybe you just end up in a riskier position. I think in this case, what I'll say is this is going to reduce your effect. So it's going to take 2 things, not 3. You managed to land the shot. The scope proved effective. You're able to land the shot without harming any of your nearby companions or anything like that. But still, the snake it's far away, it's stormy, and it's not a still target for you to hit, so there's just some uncertainty there. You hit next to the weak spot, not quite on it, and you kind of sear the flesh there, but you don't land that direct hit you were looking for.
And unfortunately, since the scope was made of glass and not super well welded together because it was an experiment, it kind of shattered in the recoil of the cannon.
Yeah, alright.
The snake.
Because I did specify it was single use.
Yep. That makes sense. The snake is now going to see that Riker has harmed it, and it will bare its fangs and stare directly at you, and then it sinks beneath the surface.
Uh-oh. I'm in trouble.
I get one more mandible attack in it as it's trying to go down.
I'll allow that, but it will be absolutely a desperate roll.
All right, I'll take that.
So
I've been doing these as Rex.
Yeah, that's fine. I'll allow Rec. So because you're getting up there close with Rec, desperate for limited effect. You're gonna have to do something to push that up.
All right, maybe group action.
Ooh, you could do a group action.
Do love me a group action.
But it will definitely be desperate, which means that opens up more people to pretty severe consequences.
Maybe we shouldn't do it.
You can push yourself to bump it up to standard effects. You won't get the extra die, but you can push yourself twice technically and take the extra die and the increased effect. But it's already desperate, so you can't make that trade. You could take a devil's bargain and push yourself and get that desperate standard effects with an extra die. It's possible. Somebody could aid you without that would open them up to possible consequences as well, but that would give you an extra die.
As maybe not.
Okay. Yeah, it's a pretty tricky thing to get in there and attack it while it's a huge thing. As it dips beneath the water, the waves, it creates like a vacuum in the water real quick. The waves slap together, and it's just a pretty hard situation to get in and attack it.
Yeah, this mandible thing's more of a running at someone kind of weapon.
Yeah, it definitely makes sense for your group actions for sure, but it has now ducked beneath the water. Is anyone going to do anything about that? Riker, you going to try and hide? Is anyone going to try and protect Riker or get close to Riker? What's going on?
What's happening, Dan?
I will.
The snake has looked at Riker and then disappeared beneath the water. So it's probably moving over there, but we don't know yet. Nobody's taken any rolls to figure out more information or do anything.
I'm gonna use research to have Landgrave take out their spyglass and try and track it through the bloody water.
Okay.
I would also like to do some spotting.
I just realized Ken was taken out of the action tip early anyways, so hold on. We'll say
was I?
at this because you traumat'd out.
Does that take time? Okay,
It does take time.
Cool.
But which trauma did you pick, by the way?
Reckless.
Okay. So I'll say after this current situation resolves, you'll be back in the action. But we'll get to that.
Cool.
Actually, I would like to try to rig up some
Hi, Kitty.
death charges, more or less, with my barrels of V on board.
Hold that thought, because we're going to handle what Joanna said first, because she spoke up. So, Joanna, you said you wanted to research. Landgrave and Mersha wanted to research to figure out what?
Track its position. I can use it. I guess I'll use it as a setup option for the depth charges.
That makes sense. I'll say this is controlled but limited. So you're going to have to find some way to boost the effect here to make it standard if you want it to have an effect. Because there's a lot of that dark demon, well, Titan blood really, in the water. You're kind of making it very murky. And it's not a very stable position that you're in to easily look beneath the waves. It's very choppy water right now. So you could potentially push yourself, or somebody could aid, or maybe a group action. Up to you.
I would love to aid.
Okay, so you'd like to aid to improve effect rather than adding a die? I think I'd allow that.
Yeah.
I think that's standard. We'll allow it. So
Okay, controlled standard.
Controlled standard, and Hector takes 1 stress.
Oh boy, that puts me up to 5.
Woo!
I'm at 0.
All right, partial success. All right. I think what happens here is you successfully pinpoint its location so that Riker can do something about it. You're able to track it beneath the water. You find those glowing eyes just barely visible thanks to your enhanced scopes and things you have. But while you're paying attention to that, a iceberg is floating towards you, and you're in a risky position. So whatever action you take now will be at a little bit of a reduced position, but it's not a consequence yet. So just something coming down the line towards you. That's what a controlled position does for you. But Riker, you have been given increased position, I'll say here. It's now a little bit less risky, whatever you're trying to do here, since you know the location of the snake.
Okay. So I want to rig up some death charges that I can detonate when it gets close to turn it away.
Okay. I think I'll require you to use some of your loadout for that. Do you have any extra ammunition that you're going to be using here?
I do have 3 uses of oil. Wait.
I don't think that'll do too much here, which would be V of the oil.
Yeah, exactly.
You could probably use a black shot for this, if that's, or a Calamity round for this. Sort of rig up your remaining Calamity ammo as depth charges. Otherwise, it's going to be pretty limited effect.
All right, yeah, sure. We'll use the last Calamity round I have.
Okay, so this will be risky standard, thanks to your Calamity round and the setup action. Trying to rig up depth charges before the snake gets to you.
Death charges.
Can I push myself for an extra die?
You certainly can. Would you like a devil's bargain?
I'm listening.
I'll give you an extra die if you drop the depth charges so close to your ship that it will be very hard for you to not take harm from them.
You've been having too much fun with our hell arc.
This is a core mechanic of this game. I didn't make it up, but it's great. Can I offer you a devil's bargain? You know what the really fun? You want to know what the?
Just like, I'm listening.
You want to know what the really fun part of the devil's bargains is? Technically, I forgot to even mention it. Any of you can propose devil's bargains for each other. If you have an idea for a devil's bargain and I agree to it, you're like, hey, what if this person takes harm, whatever, and you get a +1, and I say yes. It's fine. You can propose those at any time for each other. We can all be devil's bargain makers.
God damn, that's
Okay,
that's
devil's
chaotic
bargain.
as fuck.
We all die right now, but the snake also dies.
How do you feel about that one, Riker? The +1 die for making it a little trickier here.
No.
I feel like
I thought you said
if this
it
doesn't work, I'm going to die.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too, bro.
Yeah.
So
Seems pretty true.
There's a laser.
you know what?
There's a
Can I, instead of the extra die, can I increase the effect to make it harder to avoid damage? Because if I take damage, I'm dead.
I'll allow it. So you're essentially, what that'll do is it'll be a higher chance of consequences happening because you have a lower success chance, but the success will be more effective if it goes off. Yes, that's fine. I'll take that. So you won't get the +1 from a devil's bargain. You will take harm from the charges, but it'll go from a risky standard to a risky great, meaning if you're successful, you'll like completely avoid the snake, whatever it's doing.
Punk.
It's worth it.
Yeah.
I really like this like negotiating element of this game.
That's absolutely worth it. I'd fucking do that.
Alright.
Riz kit for the biz kit.
What's the consequence?
Well, he is well, it sounds like he's accepting a devil's bargain, that he's setting the depth charge close enough to himself that he'll take harm from it. There could be other consequences depending on the roll.
He's setting the depth charge next to himself.
Exactly.
There could be consequences.
No, that will be a consequence. There could be more depending on the roll.
Now, with the depth charges, like, will it take harm if I successfully avoid this, or like, will it hurt itself? Like, will it get hurt? Because these are big explosions.
And it is presumably
it
swimming
sounds
head first, so it could get the eyes.
Yes. So the trick here is when you make a roll, you have to sort of pick a goal for the roll, right? You can't choose both avoiding the snake and doing damage to the snake. However, if you get a crit, you get an improved effect of some kind, which probably could do damage to it.
I don't have enough dice to be
some other secondary effect happens on a crit. Yeah. If you want to do damage to it and not care about avoiding it, that's a different story.
You know, I think I'll try to do the damage.
Okay, so this will be. I think because of that, if you're trying to do damage, your goal has changed, so your position and effect have changed. I will call this desperate extreme.
Desperate extreme. Ooh.
You are essentially not caring
rig?
if you get hurt here. I'll let you choose your action. I was assuming rig. But essentially what I'm picturing this as is you're not caring that it's going to attack you here. You just want to cram a bomb down its throat while it does. Is kind of what I'm picturing here. Is that kind of what you're picturing, or are you going for something else?
Yeah, because like if I don't roll sixes, like I'm dead anyway. So this might be blood sacrifice times 2.
You can resist effects after they happen too. So maybe you do resist and get out of its jaws in the last second or something. That's a possibility, but this is the fiction we're setting up here. So you want to go for attacking it rather than defending?
Yeah, my ship is
I guess technically
basically a floating gun.
All right.
Basically a floating gun, so it's not very maneuverable. The chances of me getting out of the way of this thing are very slim.
Okay.
So I think I will just instead try to, so I can kind of see it swimming directly at me. I'll just take my last black shot or calamity round.
Can I aid him as well to give him another die?
If you can come up with a way That makes sense, but he's pretty far away from you, and the snake's also pretty far away at the moment.
Can Koakai fire a guiding bolt, aka a flare, at the snake?
Snake's underwater.
Magnesium.
Can I like control water to part the water near him to give me a better shot?
Okay, I'll allow it. But keep in mind that aiding someone does open you up to consequences on the roll as well. And I can think of a consequence I've got in mind for this. It'll be different than the consequence Riker will get, but...
Sounds good.
Okay, cool. So you can aid him.
Riker's
You take
getting
one...
eaten.
Yeah, you take one stress. Riker, you get an extra die. So this is currently Desperate Extreme on your rig roll. Unless you want to change it from this.
I think I'll take it. I have a better chance to shoot, so
That's fine.
I would
So you
like
want
to
to
shoot.
shoot at it as it's about to chomp on you? That works for me. Desperate Extreme.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Do you guys
and
think we could, like, all do a huge help on this somehow? Like, if we all use...
You're all pretty far away.
Yeah, but we've all got, like, magical shit we can do. And this is probably going to kill it, right?
Hopefully. That's my hope.
So, like, what if we all, like, threw our all into this? Like...
Quick question.
Okay, go ahead.
I used my doctor thing on him, so that means he can ignore it. Does that free up the slot?
Does not free up the slot. He just ignores it.
Okay, so reducing level 4 to level 3 when he has the slot filled still doesn't do anything.
Would still kill him. Yep.
Gotcha.
Okay, so it's Desperate Great.
We can work something out, though. I have an idea for how you guys could potentially help in the situation, but for the mechanics of this roll for now, I don't think there's much... unless you guys can argue for some way that you can actually involve yourself in the situation, I'll allow it, but you need to give me an actual concrete, like Koakai did, I'm going to use control water, right? Give me some way you're actually going to affect it.
Nope, I'm just gonna preemptively try and get there because I know he's gonna need patching up again.
Okay, yeah, I will say, if you help out now, it's going to make it harder to justify you helping afterwards, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
Kind of pick
so I'm not helping him, just seeing what's going on and getting ready for damage control.
All right.
I can't think of anything I could do other than dropping a bomb on it. Or, I mean...
I can think of something you can do.
Yeah?
Go for it.
Alright, so if Koakai, if Hector, Koakai, and Ken work together to have Koakai split the water apart, and Ken and Hector both fire flares in at it while it's exposed, then that can probably get a way easier shot for the bombs, right?
Okay. Here's what I'll say for that. I will say, we will put Hector's like the wind ability to use here, and you will answer the question of who goes first here. It's you guys. If you guys take a group action instead of what Koakai did, we'll retcon that a little bit, and you I mean, here's the problem. What are you guys trying to accomplish with it, right? It's Desperate Extreme.
I guess it's...
I'm not sure how...
Are you trying to give me more dice?
That would give it more effect. I don't know if that would give him a better chance, because he's sitting there willing to take the hit. That would make him easier for him to aim, but it's already an extreme effect.
Yeah. I guess we could...
hey, give me more dice.
Location was already revealed by Landgraver Mersha. Yeah, you got to die from... You know what? I'll allow it. If you guys take a group action, I'll let each of you three grant him a die instead of just Koakai. So you'll each take one stress, and I'll ask for a roll here instead. No, I won't. I'll let you each take one stress, and you can each grant an extra die to Riker here. This is a special case. I'll allow it.
Hey!
This is cool. This is a big cinematic moment.
Absolutely.
I love that. I'm taking it.
All right, we had to negotiate back and forth. This is a big roll. I love that we've been sitting on this one roll for like 15 minutes. I love it.
Yes.
This is what this game seems to be kind of a little bit.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I get 4 base, -1 from harm,
Yes.
+3, and then I pushed myself So that's another
So you
plus
have
1, so 7.
Three total, 7. Yeah, the 3 bonus total because it's 4 minus 1. Yep, 3 bonus total on top of your 4.
Okay.
Desperate,
All sixes.
extreme. Get a crit. Oh, it's still a success. Which means you do get a complication, severe harm, reduced effects. You do succeed. So you all watch as Riker, Fire Hand Embers, waits for the last possible moment when the snake's jaws reach up out of the water and surround his ship. And there's time kind of slows down a little bit as you take aim down the throat of this snake. And you fire the Calamity round, not taking any movement to get out of the way, directly down this thing's throat. The rest of you see the snake's jaws close as Riker takes level 4 harm. Eaten.
I am going to spend 2 doctor uses, one to use my ability to reduce it to level 3, and one to reduce it to level 2 if I can.
Okay, let's see how this works. Each ignore... ignores harm penalties. Doesn't reduce the level of the harm. It's like he still has a level 3 harm that you patched up earlier. It just doesn't. He doesn't have the need help penalty on the right side because of your doctor ability before. Riker can resist this, or someone can protect him. There's a few different things that can happen here.
Yeah, I'm going to protect him.
You can't because you took the aid action.
Oh, okay.
So if Landgrave or Mersha wants to dive in there and like knock him out of the way or something to take the damage instead, that's up to you. You can do that. You'll probably have to resist it.
What would I use to resist? Prowess?
So this would likely be a prowess resistance roll, yes.
Okay, you know what?
What's your prowess?
I've got 1 in maneuver, shoot, and skirmish, so I think that puts it to 3, right?
That's correct.
Okay.
Mine's only 2.
Yeah, I'm gonna...
Well, Riker,
I'm
either
gonna
way,
take
you're
it
fucked.
for him.
Even if you resist this, it would go to level 3, and since your level 3 row is filled, it would still bump up to 4 again.
Oh, okay.
So it would be pretty hard for you to resist this right now.
Alright, I'm going to
Yes.
take it for him, scoop my ship, like, right in the way.
Okay. So we alter the fiction a little bit here. Riker takes that last shot. He is willing to die for this. You know what? This snake is going to fall. He doesn't see a way out of this, but this snake is going to die, and everyone's going to know he killed it. You will have that reputation, that legend going for you at least. And so, as you pull the trigger, Riker, you close your eyes at the last second, waiting for fate to take you. And then you feel, boom, as your ship gets bumped into by Mersha, ready to hit you from behind and knock you flying out of the way. And the snake chomps down on Mersha's ship instead. Go ahead and roll me that resistance roll, Mersha, against level 4 harm. Eaten.
Can I use the doctor ability, or use my not today ability on myself?
Not today. Yes, you can. So you could choose to. Yes, so you could use your doctor use here. I'll allow it. Essentially, instead of a resistance roll, you can spend your doctor use to reduce it to level 3 harm instead.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that, and then I'm going to blow all 3 of my repair kits at once to patch whatever damage is in the ship.
Okay. So yeah, I
Mersha
will
literally necro-tanking.
Yes, so in the fiction here, you use your extra equipment to give yourself a speed boost or something. Does that sound reasonable? You've rigged up your engines to launch yourself. You knock Riker out of the way, and then the snake only chomps down on like the rear portion of your ship. He doesn't eat you completely, he just tears a chunk out of the back of your ship, and you were ready for this. You and your crew get in there, you immediately start patching it up. It's shaky, it's not going to hold super well because you're out of doctor uses now. You have a level 3 harm.
Wait, no, I had 3 doctor uses.
Oh, you had 3 doctor uses?
Yeah, I still have 1 left. And I was going to blow all of my repair kits to do the patch so that I can survive long enough to use a doctor thing on myself.
You have 4 total?
I had 3 total. I used 1.
Uses repair.
And I'm using 1 so I don't die right away.
Another one was the repair kit. Yeah, so the doctor used to... Okay. Oh, I see. I was
the
confused.
Repair kits are loadouts or utility supplies.
Correct. That was a different thing, not a doctor thing. I was confused.
Yeah, I was offering to blow all 3 of them on this 1 use so I can save my doctor slot.
Yes, and I think that would work, but it would be for 1 action, just like we did before with the repair kits. I was confused because I was checking your sheet and it said you only have 1 dot in doctor. Have you been removing dots of doctor as you've been using them?
Yes.
Okay. You want to leave
so
that. You want to leave that where it is because
Okay.
there's a little uses drop down on the right that increases with because your dots of doctor don't change, but
Okay.
so how many uses do you have left now?
I have 1 use left.
Okay, so you can use the 3 things. You'll be able to take another action even though you would need help normally because you patched yourself up. I think that's fine. Okay, cool. So we've handled the mechanical stuff. Sorry to dive into all that, but backing out a little bit. Yes, sir?
If I can, I'll take that action now and use my last doctor use on myself to keep myself alive.
That works for me. Yeah, so you'll get to work on that immediately. And Ken, you're back in the action now. So Riker, you've been knocked out of the... Sorry?
What happened with the shot?
Yes,
Oh yeah,
I'm
the
getting
explosion.
to that. Getting to that.
Okay.
I'm just handling the stuff that happened from consequences first.
Yeah.
Well, I'll get to that. So Mersha knocks Riker out of the way, patches up her ship immediately. Everybody's getting to work. You start to fix your ship up so it can work more efficiently. And in the meantime, you all watch the snake chomp down, missing both Mersha and Riker, barely taking out a chunk of Mersha's ship, which you still have level 3 harm chomped, Mersha, but you're ignoring the penalties of it because of your doctor uses. As the snake chomps down on mostly empty water, you all see this glowing blue pulse kind of go down its throat, almost looking like it's tried to swallow something too big for itself, and it raises its head up out of the water, and then the pulse gets down to where the weak spot was and just explodes out of that spot, and the snake's body is almost torn in half entirely as you finish off the snake internal damage clock.
Woo!
And then the body of the snake, raised up into the air, higher even than Hector above everything, crashes down into the water, spraying this black ichor everywhere up into the air and all around you, and it begins to rain down on you all, filling the ocean, and this giant tidal wave begins to form as the massive body of the snake falls into the water all at once. What are you guys doing?
I want to sway everyone, if I can, to get the fuck out.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Can we do a group maneuver roll to
Oh god.
I'm super down for that.
Yeah, so there's a couple things that have been called out here. A sway roll I would allow, if you want to roll that, or we could do a group maneuver roll. There's a few different options here. You gotta choose one though. Only one thing can happen at a time. What are you thinking? Do you want to lead a group maneuver roll, Ken? Or do you want to try and... I will say, if you try to sway, it's probably going to be... all of the consequences will be on you, essentially. Or a lot more of them will shift to you if you try to take them all alone.
I'm happy to do a group maneuver roll, but I expect in the maneuver, so...
Hey, if you can lead us out of here, then fuck it.
Yeah.
I have
All right. I'm
no
gonna
points in maneuver.
I'm gonna lead a group maneuver to to get the fuck out of the danger zone.
Okay.
And then potentially regroup on once we're all out of it.
Okay. I will say this is risky standard. Everybody can make those maneuver rolls for me.
All right. So we're gonna scale ourselves up on that from group action.
Yep.
I'm gonna push myself because I only have 0 points of maneuver.
All right.
Can I push myself and take that point of trauma?
You can push yourself, but taking the point of trauma will take you out of the action temporarily, which might mean you lag behind people. So that's up to you.
Okay, I'll take my 1 dice then.
Okay. Yeah, keep in mind, as long as there's a lot of dice in play here with the massive group roll that's happening here, and whoever has the highest roll, that applies to everybody. So it won't be too bad with just your 1 die. Yeah, maneuver rolls for everybody, please.
Is that risky great now?
I think.
I don't know what the scale actually really does.
I don't think scale will apply much in this situation because you're trying to get out of the way of this massive amount of evil rain, essentially.
Okay.
I don't think scale will affect that much, unfortunately.
Cool.
Still,
all right.
1 success. That's a 6. Ooh. Oh boy! Come on, roll 1 more 6. One more of you.
Boop.
That's a crit.
There's another 6. All right, we crits.
That's a crit. So, as the snake hits the water, Ken thinks fast. You snap back to it, Ken. You're finally back in the action after taking that trauma. And you see the situation. You see the snake hit the water and the spray go up. And you immediately start commanding people to move. Move, move, move. And you guys start to make your way out of there. And because you acted so quickly, you guys don't suffer any consequences at the moment. However, there is still the massive tidal wave filled with black ichor rolling towards you all. What do you do?
I have a question.
And it's a new track. It's so loud.
Sorry.
Yeah, that is very loud. It resets the volume every time the song changes.
Yeah.
That's weird. There's a global volume control. Did you see that one?
What?
There's like
Is it in
individual
settings?
songs.
Oh no, it's a drop-down menu that is by default collapsed.
Yeah, so there's the global volume controls which control all songs, and then every song has its own volume slider as well.
That's also pretty bug. Yes, I see that. It's now adjusted.
Oh, god damn it. Alright, thank you.
Sure thing. So, massive tidal wave of demon blood is rolling towards you. What I think I'm going to do for this one. This thing is a massive wave. It's not going to slow down anytime soon. I'm going to call this... I'm going to use the standard chase mechanics that are involved in this game. This will be the wave catches up clock, which I put on this row because it is a negative. And finally, the escape clock. And actions you guys do and the consequences you take will involve those 2 clocks. So, what are you doing?
I have a question.
Go for it.
My gravity wave ability, what role would be reasonable for that?
That's up to you. If you can fictionally justify it, I'll allow it. What are you envisioning?
Basically kind of swinging in between everyone in the wave and unleashing a massive gravity wave to try and slow down the tidal wave.
Okay, you're at a pretty massive scale disadvantage here. I don't think your gravity wave is going to be enough to displace that without a lot of extra help, whether it's a group action or you're spending other resources or something. But it's going to be a limited effect unless you can bump that up pretty high.
Can you use it to propel us forward instead?
That is the second option I was thinking of, using a gravity boost to try to launch everyone forward.
I think that would have a higher effect, but you would either have to ignore the rest of the fleet and Cedric.
And NPCs.
Yeah, the NPCs or something. That's going to be pretty hard. There's a giant tidal wave and a huge fleet of ships here, and you're just one Zeppelin with a gravity wave. You can do it. You're just going to need to maybe expend special ammo to boost the effect, push yourself to boost the effect, something. It's up to you.
I've got 2 rocket drill charges left, so I could expend those by kind of
Yeah, repurpose the special ammo.
repurposing the V from it,
Sure. If they're
because they're
essentially just,
VTech powered.
Yep, they're just essentially an extra source of magical or mechanical power.
So I could burn both of those to try to enhance the size of the wave.
Okay, if you're gonna burn both, they are extremely volatile, so I'll put that to a desperate great effect.
Absolutely,
or desperate
I'll do
standard effect, because the standard effect would be pushing people along. Great effect was gonna cost you more.
Could I reason this out to a maneuver?
I'll allow a maneuver. You need to get into the right position to fire off the charges, and then the charges are more of a big area effect, so it's less about precision. Sure. So maneuver, desperate standard. Would you like a devil's bargain?
Ooh.
Would you like to hear a devil's bargain at least?
Sure.
The fleet falls clock will be significantly ticked by this, depending on how the roll goes, but I'll give you an extra die.
Alright. That would push me up to 5 die. How does the team feel about that?
Define significantly ticked.
I think
2 or 3.
Yeah. I think I would give it 2 ticks per level. So if you got up to a success, that would be just 2 ticks. A critical would be none. It would be 4 ticks for a mixed success, and it would completely wipe out the fleet if he fails. Which might happen anyways, to be fair. If you completely fail to knock people away from the thing, the wave's going to catch up without you ticking anything on the escape clock, so...
Team, how do we feel about that?
Are we able to like use abilities and stuff to like resist that afterwards, or?
Yep, you can make resistance rolls against any consequence. That's correct.
Any chance I can use some of my remaining VV to do anything with this?
Depends. What do you got?
I've got 3 barrels of V hanging around.
So V is volatile, flammable. It's a source of magical power. If you can think of anything you could do here.
Koakai, can you potentially control water in any way?
Mm-hmm. I know you do. Control water and wind.
I think
this might help.
I think that might be a separate action if you want to do that. I would allow it. Wouldn't necessarily help Hector position himself for this gravity wave, but if you want to use control water or something to try and shove the wave back as another action afterwards, another way to tick your escape clock or something, that's fine.
Ooh, as a setup for Hector, can I research and then signal the best point to center the AoE effect?
That works for me. So I'll say this is risky for standard effects, because you're taking an extra second to calculate, so that's why it's risky, but it will provide Hector with additional effect if it works.
Alright, I'm gonna do that.
Alright, a full success. No consequences. Landgrave and Mithra are on it with their calculations. They already know the physics of water. They've been here, they've been in the water their whole lives. You know exactly where to place Hector to land this gravity wave. So Hector, this becomes a desperate great effect.
Alright, I'm gonna skip the Devil's Bargain because potentially a +4 to that meter is a little too much for just a +1 die.
Okay.
So I'm gonna take my normal roll, which since it's desperate, it'll be 3 + 1.
Alright.
3 for maneuver, +1, desperate, and great effect?
Great effects.
Alright, let's roll it.
Full success. Hector,
Let's go, baby.
Thanks to Landgrave Mersh's positioning, you managed to get down in exactly the right spot to release that gravitational pulse to... are you trying to, we'll say, advance the rest of your crew ahead of the wave? Yeah? Kind of shove everybody out of the way?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just
So-
boost everyone.
On a full
Rocket jumping.
success, I will give you 2 ticks on the escape clock. and since it's a full success, there are no other consequences.
Let's go.
All right, who's
Nothing
stepping
you
up?
can't do. Nothing you can't do with a ship full of wizards.
Kolkai's gonna use his control water to just kind of help move all the ships forward even more.
Excellent.
Would it be possible to do control wind to make sure Hector's caught in that too?
Oh yeah, for sure. He's gonna push himself and have both him and his Ergonasi sorcerer just push themselves and
Okay.
propel the whole party forward.
So I think because this is pretty large scale disadvantage again, it would be limited, and if you push yourself, it'll become standard. You won't get the extra die. You could push yourself twice, get the extra die and standard effect though. And it will be risky. So you could push it to Desperate Great if you wanted to. But either risky standard or Desperate Great, unless you want to add other things to that. What action are you taking for this, by the way?
I was gonna do maneuver.
That makes sense to me, sure. Since we don't have like a magic skill in the system, that works. So, you taking risky standard or desperate great, or are you gonna add other things to it?
What else could I even add? Besides,
Well, so you're pushing yourself once to increase the effect already. If you have other equipment or abilities that would affect it, that could go in there. You could push yourself again. You could take a devil's bargain.
oh, you can push yourself multiple times.
You can take. There are two separate effects when you push yourself. You can take increased effects, or you can take +1 die. You're allowed to take both of those on one roll if you take 4 stress. That is allowed.
But if I max out my stress, I take a trauma.
You need to go max +1.
Okay, you know what? I'll max out and I'll go +1 die and I'll go up to great.
Oh, well, it's already standard from you pushing yourself. It was limited before you pushed yourself.
Risky.
Oh, it was limited before I pushed myself. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
because
So
it's a scale difference. So.
I'll do standard +1 then.
All right, so it'll be standard, risky, +1. You could do desperate great if you want to. That's always allowed. You can shut down the position to increase the effect.
Oh, yeah, I'll do that.
Okay, desperate great. You've got the extra die. Okay. Partial success on the maneuver roll, and you do take the 4 stress. I'm going to say you managed to get the magic off. It's working. You're pushing everyone else ahead of you, but unfortunately, you are falling behind the rest of the crew. You decide that it is better to push everyone else out of the way, and you will suffer some of the wave crashing down on you. It's more important to get everyone else ahead. Your ships can take it. That's the effect of you pushing it to desperate and getting that great effect. You're trading the riskiness for the additional effects, really. I keep saying effects, but you know what I mean. So, everyone else, 2 ticks on the clock. The rest of you have moved far enough away from the ship, or from the wave, but Koakai, you are going to take the level 3 harm sinking as the wave crashes down over you. You can resist.
I'm going to use my I'll use my heavy armor.
Okay. The wave crashes down over Koakai, and you kind of sink beneath it for just a second, but your ships are resilient enough that you manage to resist completely being pushed under the water and into a sinking state, and you pop up behind the wave. It becomes a level 2 harm, waterlogged. And you're now behind the waves. There's no damage of that. And the rest of you have moved ahead of it far enough that the wave has lowered enough that it's no longer a massive threat. And so, I think you guys have done it.
Woo! Hell yeah.
A little spicy there at times.
You all took
Oh,
a lot of stress. But you got in there.
I almost died.
Took some damage. There were some sketchy situations. Yes, you almost died.
Really almost
Multiple
died.
of you almost died. But by your combined bravery and effort, you didn't even take that much damage to the fleet. Very few casualties. An absolute miracle against the massive titan you all just faced. The largest beast this world has ever seen has been destroyed by you 5. Any words you want to say?
well, for the first time, Landgrave breaks a smile, and Mersha's just like cheering with the crew. And then she gets to work dispatching more repair stuff just to make sure we can all get back to shore safely.
All right.
Yeah, Kolkai's pushing his ship over to like the rest of the fleet to join them in the celebrations.
I feel like you would definitely hear Hector over the psychic radio. Absolutely tremendous effort, gentlemen.
We fucking did a bang-up job. I'll say so myself.
We'll all be drinking to this one tonight. Great job, men and women, and others.
Anything from Riker?
I feel like Riker's too busy trying to prepare.
That's fair.
He's gonna prepare to scuttle his ship because he doesn't think it's gonna make it back. Not in this storm.
Fair enough.
Like,
All the celebrating, it's like, oh,
Everybody,
fuck,
yeah.
oh fuck, oh shit, oh fuck.
In the back.
Right,
I'm
like-
thinking.
All right.
I
You
have a
hear-
trauma and 6 stress, guys.
At level 3 harm.
You fired your cannon.
So
pushed
you
myself
hear
without 6 stress.
a very quiet voice, one that you haven't heard yet, over the psychic network saying, "Well done. Mercer will help Riker get ashore. And our ship lowers a rowboat with Mersha and like 2 or 3 people, not enough to disable the ship, but they're going to help keep Riker's ship floating and sail when he's like too shell-shocked."
All right. She just,
Right.
yeah, Riker's just like, his internal monologue is fuck, 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 fuck.
So as all this is happening, and you guys are cheering and celebrating and congratulating each other over psychic radio, the swirling storms above where the snake fell part right in the middle, and a ray of sunshine falls down on the entire fleet, a perfect cone filling and covering the entire fleet with warmth you haven't felt in months. And this hole in the sky gets wider and wider as the clouds begin to part, and the terrible cold winter finally begins to disappear. And so, you all make it back to Belwick,
We did it, guys.
where there is a massive celebration. Cedric Hayes officially announces he is stepping down as Admiral, for there is no more need for the last great fleet of Belwick. Congratulations all on completing this one-shot. Thank you all for playing. I had a lot of fun with this one.
That was super fun.
I like
the
that
system.
system a lot.
It's super cool.
It's
Sorry
very
to
crazy
interrupt as
D&D
well.
5th edition rule set you used.
Right? If any of you want to take other opportunities to roleplay real quick in Belwick as well, that's totally fine with me. I'm willing to stay here as long as you want. But I just wanted to say that as well while there's an opportunity.
That was,
Yeah, I think I'm
that
gonna
was
leave this
absolutely fantastic.
That was really cool.
Thank you. I had a fun time.
Definitely done enough RP for one night. But
Understandable.
holy shit, that was...
I
Yeah,
think
that was a ton of fun.
I think this is my favorite one shot I've
like-
been on That was great.
I really liked playing support, so this was really fun.
Yeah, it was cool. I love how Mersha was able to knock Riker out of the way, literally saving his life. So cool. What other system lets you do shit like that?
You didn't
right?
save my life. You ruined my dad.
Excellent.
Classic.
All right.
Too bad. Mersha wants to collaborate on some fancy new weapons and machinery.
Oh, hell yeah.
Of course.
I feel like Riker's pulling a Captain Jack Sparrow pulling into port where like the ship is mostly sunk.
Yeah, he's just like
Standing on the mast, like
exactly just steps off onto the
steps
pier.
off onto the pier, yeah. Nothing to see here.
I think it's so interesting how in this game, like, someone makes a roll and then, like, 20 minutes later, like, five
That
other
roll
people have
happens.
made rolls, like, just trying to help that person or
Yeah,
do something. And
it's
it's
so
like, it's
cool.
really, it's so neat.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of Magic, how like you do one thing and then a million things go on the stack, and then we
Yeah.
resolve it all and
Yep.
something cool
It's like-
happens.
It lets you guys all influence a situation without having to get into like the super granular details about it. Like, instead of having to go through a turn order and everybody take their turn and their action and what you're doing in this situation, we can just say, I'm going to contribute this to the situation and here's the mechanics for it. I'm going to contribute this to the situation, here's the mechanics for it. Then we do one fucking roll to resolve all of it in this giant fucking cascade. It's super cool. Love it.
Also, I gotta
Yeah,
say,
it's pretty cool.
leading group actions feels so good.
That was really clutch. Yeah.
Yep, the group actions were really strong.
That was so much
Yeah.
fun.
Also, I rolled
It was-
mostly full successes.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, that's the
you got
thing.
It was
one
really
super
cool to get 7 dice multiple times, but goddamn,
Yeah.
that was not yours.
The worst luck ever.
You guys got a
It is
lot
the
of sixes tonight.
consequences.
I have heard of people
Yeah.
playing this game and just like never rolling above a 3, getting like a couple 4s in there. It's like,
Really?
oh god, everything sucks. Lots of 6s. Good to see it.
Yeah, that one. So I love that we were able to boost the effect of Riker's cannon to extreme.
Yeah.
It's like-
Excellent.
Also,
Yeah, no, I definitely got to fulfill the sniper fantasy.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Hell yeah.
you're blowing yourself up.
Facing down the jaws of death to shoot down the monster's throat. Oh, yes, so metal.
That was
Fuck yeah.
really cool.
Ah, fuck, that's an anti-tank cannon.
Oh, fuck.
That's an anti-tank cannon!
Exactly.
Oh, fuck. I didn't realize it till Zurin said it, but I literally just made a skybolt full of wizards.
Yeah.
Yo,
Skyboat full of wizards. Fuck yeah.
I didn't realize we could have multiple ships.
Yeah,
So
it
I
could
realized-
represent like a small fleet or a giant ship or something.
Yeah, so I was one huge juggernaut.
Excellent.
Big chunker.
Yeah,
That's still-
I don't remember.
I mean,
Oh, that's what
that's
Riker did.
Pog, though.
Oh yeah, no, like the scale of it just hit home when I was like, oh shit, you guys all have multiples?
Multiple little dudes, yeah.
Yeah,
Medium ships.
mine's like a StarCraft carrier where it's floating over top and these little things keep zipping out and dropping bombs on people.
Yeah.
Dude, I was so
Oh, I
ready
was
for
just-
the snake to fucking jaws you out of the water, Nick, but you rolled so many successes. Like,
You're like, it's looking at you out of the water and go, ah, shit.
yeah, exactly.
I'm like looking, I'm like, I don't have armor, I don't have defenses.
I was prepared to use a
Uh,
not today on that, so
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
wouldn't have died.
It would have been. It was corruption either way on that particular one. The
Yeah.
or the Koakai jumped in the way of that one.
Oh right, yeah.
I was like, you don't need to take the corruption, but then I realized you could have it. I'm like, oh, that's just better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The tank.
Yeah, when I realized I could have it, I was like, damn, I'm taking this.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a super cool function too, being able to just jump in the way of other people if you can fictionally justify it.
Yeah, that was the only time I got to use it, but like I kind of wanted to use it a couple more times, and it was really neat.
Yeah, I think that'll come into play a lot more often when we play slightly more grounded one-shots of this, where it's like, we're actually people in a world, not a bunch of ships in the water and stuff. And it makes more sense to jump in the way of somebody 5 feet away from you, things like that.
Right.
Yeah. Though that transport ship mechanic to keep our sniper in the game was really fun to pull off.
Yeah, that was super cool.
This whole thing was so cool.
I loved it.
If something was going to happen, I was prepared to ask for it again, just to make sure that we kept our heavies in the game.
Yeah. Thank you guys for playing. This was great.
Yeah, thanks for running this.
It felt a lot
4
more
hours
than I thought it would be.
Right? Once you get into it, I feel like once you kind of get the system, it really flows. I like it.
Well, here's the funny thing, it doesn't flow. One action takes 20 minutes, but it feels fun the whole time.
Yeah, I think that will
It's not
narrow
just like
down.
waiting for something to happen.
Right. I think that'll narrow down once we start to understand the system a little better.
Maybe.
But I think those 20 minutes are spent well, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Right?
Mhm.
It's not like we're spending 20 minutes rolling dice and adding numbers. We're spending 20 minutes having a debate about the fiction and trying to understand what each other's intentions are and then executing on that. I think that's
Yeah,
super
we're talking the
I feel
whole time.
like the increased knowledge will just turn into more drawn out negotiations, which is also fun.
Yes, also fun. Exactly. Damn.
Yeah,
that's a
it's
cool
not
system.
taking your turn. It's
Yeah.
like we all collaborate on a story.
Exactly. That nails it.
Also, can we talk about how I made a skyboat full of gravity wizards and then didn't use gravity magic to keep it in the air? I actually just used helium.
Yep. No, it's perfect. That fits the setting perfectly because I really want both magic and like diesel type technology to like coexist in this setting. So that works out really well.
Well, my first idea was to have everything be like VTech, right? Like a VTech radio kind of thing. And then Jordan mentioned magic. I was like, I guess I could just have one psychic dude sitting in a room with like enhancement equipment all around him, and he's just casting to people 3 miles away. Yeah.
Yeah, that's way cooler. That's so
Absolutely.
cool.
So it's one thing I do want to avoid in the setting a little bit is I do want like diesel stuff to exist. I don't necessarily want any early digital stuff to exist quite yet, or any kind of even stuff like radios can potentially just be answered by magic instead, right? It might be simpler in the setting to answer with magic. But you can make fully automated things by like capturing spirits or things like that, like kind of mixing magic and technology or things like that. I think that's cooler than just going full one way or the other. That's kind of what I'm trying to capture with the setting. So I appreciate everybody going for different things and mixing it together. It's cool.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, it was super cool.
It ended up being cooler than I intended.
Hell yeah.
I like my VTech control rod for
Yeah.
a mostly automated ship.
Excellent. That's the real mad scientist shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, like, even though it wasn't explicitly stated, like, it felt like Riker's ship was also sort of a character. Where, like, Riker's clearly just the person who brought this thing here and is firing the guns.
Yeah, true.
Like, it did not feel like Riker's ship had a crew.
That was the point.
Yeah,
it had very few crew and was mostly powered by VTech engines and servo, kind of shit.
Yeah,
I loved the power move of opening with essentially a mini nuke and immediately destroying your ship right off the bat. It's great.
Oh yeah, fucking great.
Like that old Russian machine gun that just broke the planes that it fired out
Yeah,
of.
exactly. No consideration for what the gun will do to you while you hold it, only that it's as strong as possible when you shoot it. Yeah, real mad scientist shit.
What do you mean consequences? It's supposed to break shit.
Perfect.
It's fortunate that I had
desperate great fleet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Last desperate shot.
Yeah. What were you saying, Joanna?
Oh, I was saying it was an amusing counterpart that I designed my ship to just be basically held together by a bunch of nerds and engineers.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, you were like pluck and stick-to-itiveness.
Look at the image that let's just throw this up again. The image that Joanna sent for the ship, like Super cool.
Oh yeah, that's a really awesome ship.
Oh, I absolutely loved that picture.
I must have been looking away. I didn't think I saw it.
So much character.
A lot of character.
The fucking Zeppelin. Beag guns.
Mm-hmm.
Big. That's just a battleship.
Yeah, that's a 1911 dreadnought.
I saw that picture. I'm like, I've seen that picture before.
Yeah,
I couldn't find a
There were like
picture of a
1,000
ship with a
pictures
big
of
enough
this
gun.
That's fair, yeah.
Yeah, wait, that's a real battleship. What the fuck?
Yeah, I didn't have a lot of time to dig around for pictures. But
I
also,
forgot-
that's like the fiction of what I'm going for, just huger, thicker.
I forgot to mention it, but the little Shrike class aircraft are just even more airships with wizards on them because they're just wind powered. But the way you get the wind is the dude sitting in the back is a mage and
He just
keeps
farts
casting
really hard.
gust of wind.
Love it.
Amazing.
I do kind of wish I could have found a better picture, but like, I had a half-hour break today.
Yeah, the best I could find was the Sea of Thieves picture.
Hey, decent.
Fucking Sea of Thieves, bro.